Good morning. It's now 5 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. He is not cooperating. ABC News reporting that Tyler Robinson, the 22-year-old man accused of murdering Charlie Kirk, has not confessed, nor is he helping investigators in this case. But investigators are still receiving lots of useful information.
The New York Times reporting Robinson allegedly joking that his doppelganger did it with a group of friends on the messaging platform. According to the Times, one user reportedly suggesting the group should turn Robinson in to get the $100,000 reward from the FBI. Robinson allegedly responding, "Only if I get a cut."
That's ABC's Matt Gutman reporting. Tyler Robinson's roommate, a transgender whom Robinson was romantically involved with, reportedly told investigators about a message received from Robinson telling him that he left the rifle in a bush. Investigators found it in the woods near the scene of the shooting. A Nashville man says he killed his stepfather out of self-defense. 19-year-old Nathan Hensley telling police he came to the defense of his mom.
36-year-old Jose Rodas was attacking his mother Sunday at Southwood Park Place Apartments. Hensley says that he heard screaming coming from the bedroom. When he got in there, he saw Rodas choking his mother. Hensley then shot his stepfather.
That's WSMV4's Alexandria Adams. The stepfather has died, and so far, no charges against Hensley. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Some details of the late Giorgio Armani's business are now being released. He's instructing his heirs to sell an initial 15% stake in his fashion empire within 18 months of his death. The FAA hit Boeing with a $3 million fine over safety violations. Investigators reportedly uncovering hundreds of violations at two Boeing factories in a 6-month period. The agency saying the lapses in safety include the Alaska Airlines door plug blowout in January of 2024. Boeing responded, vowing to improve safety standards. Uber being sued by the federal government for allegedly discriminating against passengers with disabilities, citing cancellations and cleaning fees for service dogs. Even though last week gave us some data showing inflation a bit hotter than expected, investors this week are hoping for a Federal Reserve interest rate cut at this week's meeting. Several downbeat reports about job growth last week reinforced the prospect of a cut, sending stocks soaring to new record highs. Dave Packer, ABC News.
Stocks this morning are mixed. We've got the Dow futures up 104 points, with the NASDAQ futures down 12. S&P futures are gaining 6. That's the latest news. Stick around for traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Just one problem this morning. It is in Heron Walk. It's on East Old Hickory Boulevard at Delaware Avenue. Watch for an accident in that spot. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.506 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And good morning to your friends. Hope you are doing well. There is so much news to talk about. Now, Joan and Sam, who are both here today, I've made the editorial decision
Yes.
not to focus too much on the nincompoops in the news.
But there's so many.
We could go for 8 hours with
There's
that.
like hundreds, thousands of them, as a matter of fact. But you know what? There's so much good out there that I feel like I just want to focus on them. We all know that the people are out there. We do. We know that they're out there. I don't necessarily feel like, oh, I see what's happening. I don't necessarily want to dwell on the bad. Do you know who has really raised my ire this morning, Joan? Whoever decided to move the camera, which now poor Sam has had to run in here and put the camera back in focus because somebody had it pushed way off to the side. So anyway, you radio listeners, I apologize. So we all good with the camera now because everybody knows the company is very concerned about the cameras. All right. Except giving us good cameras. Hey, anyway, so there is a lot to talk about. You are a college football fan. You're not a college football fan, Joan. Joan? Is Joan there? Did she leave? She left. Okay.
She couldn't take your first 5 minutes.
She couldn't take the first 5 minutes. She's angry that I'm not going to cover the nincompoops in the news. All right. Oregon Ducks coach Dan Lanning, right? Turns out Charlie Kirk was a big, for whatever reason, and randomly enough, an Oregon Ducks fan, which is the football team there in Oregon. And so after the game, he was in a press conference, and I love what he had to say because he had a lot of good things to say. This is the Oregon Ducks coach. Listen closely. I love what he said about Charlie Kirk.
You know, you talk about how you recently found out like Charlie Kirk was a Oregon fan, right? I didn't know that. I hurt for his wife, Erica, and their kids. Like that sort of evil should never exist in our country, and that's what it is. It's evil. Like, but I remember having to explain that to my family. Right, I remember sitting down with my kids and explaining what happened, and they're talking about people talking about it at school, and it's just sad, right? But it's just as sad, you know, every day it seems like we deal with some sort of violence that's going on in our country, whether it's, you know, school kids in Colorado or kids in Minnesota at churches. I mean, life matters, you know, and I think we've lost sight of that, but I wish the world could learn a little bit of something from our locker room because we got a bunch of people with differences. The U.S. could learn a lot from our locker room. I think the people in this world can learn a lot from our locker room. You walk in that locker room, you got guys of different races, guys of different backgrounds, different religions, and you got a team that loves each other. Like tons of differences, where they come from, what they deal with, and ultimately you got a team that loves each other. And I think we're missing some of that in our country.
Boy, you know what? He's right. And one of the things, and I'm curious, and shoot me a note on the super text line. You tell me if it's the right decision. I think it's the right decision to try to focus on the good that is out there today and not all of the evil. You know, Robbie Starbuck is doing such an outstanding job at finding the bad guys that are out there, the ones that have been out there celebrating the bad people out there that were you know celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk. So Robbie is doing a great job. What I really want to focus on is Erica Kirk's speech. Now, I don't know if you folks saw that incredible speech by Erica Kirk, but it was over the weekend, and I can't play the entire 16 minutes of it. I just can't. I wish that I could. but I can't. So I've done a couple of different things. Number one is I have posted the entire speech to my ex at Dan Manda's show, and I've also taken some cuts out. By the way, our video is working today, so if you want to go to YouTube, you want to see video to the audio that I'm playing, you can watch us on YouTube, and we'll be glad to show you what we're talking about on the radio. So Erica Kirk, one of the things that she spoke about is the passion that her husband Charlie had for the Oregon Ducks, among many other things. So I'm going to just play this. I don't know if Joan's back, if she saw the speech by Erica Kirk.
Oof.
But it was, I mean, Amy and I were both crying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to tell you, we weren't ugly crying.
Oh,
But we both shed tears.
Oh, yeah.
Sarah and I were embracing an ugly crying. We woke up to it.
Were you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So this is Erica Kirk and what she had to say about her husband, Charlie, and life in America.
Charlie always said that when he was gone, he wanted to be remembered for his courage and for his faith. And one of the final conversations that he had on this earth, my husband witnessed for his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Now and for all eternity, he will stand at his Savior's side, wearing the glorious crown of a martyr. Charlie loved life. He loved his life. He loved America. He loved nature, which helped him always bring him closer to God. He loved the Chicago Cubs. And my goodness, did he love the Oregon Ducks. Want me to say go Ducks, so I have to since they play on Saturday. So go Ducks.
And by the way, the Ducks won 34-14. I don't know if you heard it, Joan. I played the audio of the Oregon Ducks coach, a guy by the name of Dan Lanning, who had a lot of great things to say about not only Charlie Kirk, but life here in America. Both you can find on the Dan Manda Show Twitter feed on X. Follow me there. So, she did go on to say how he loved his family and how much his family loved him. It really was an amazing speech. And again, one that I watched. And it was hard to watch with a dry eye. And I didn't. Again, I didn't ugly cry like Sam did. Joan, Honest Engine, did you cry when you saw the speech?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yep. Was it an ugly cry or was it just a regular cry?
I would say it was an ugly cry. I started watching it. My husband was in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And he saw me starting to cry. So he came over and sat and watched it with me. And we both we both shed tears. It was the feeling of, you feel her hope for everything that she's going to do.
Yep.
And yet knowing, he said to me, I don't know how anybody else feels about this, but he said to me, I don't think she's ever going to be able to be married again.
Do you know what's funny? Amy and I talked about that over the weekend.
I think a lot of people probably did. Yeah. I mean, how does she ever have another husband?
No man would ever compare, first of all.
No. She married a martyr.
She did, but, my good friend Dr. Laura used to always say that if someone was in a good marriage, then they'll more than likely marry again. Now, to that point, you're right. How does anybody measure up to Charlie Kirk? But that's almost unfair. I don't think Erica Kirk, and I don't know, we shouldn't be talking about this, but I think that Charlie Kirk was an amazing man. I think Erica Kirk is an amazing woman. And I would hate to see, I don't want her to have a lifetime of loneliness. I'm sure that she'll be able to find someone at some point. But asking said man to, be able to, be what Charlie Kirk is, I think she just needs a man that is good to her, supports those children as well. And she'll probably find someone in years from now who is just as amazing as Charlie. But that is interesting because in speaking to some other people that I know, they also thought the same thing.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I wonder if she'll ever marry again. And it is my hope, because I'm such a fan of good marriages, that she does eventually find someone else. But, that's all, way down the road.
I think it'll be when the girls are just about grown up. That's how my aunt handled it. I had a cousin that was raised by a single mother.
Yeah.
And she waited till he was off at college, and then she got, and it was all for the better in that aspect. But that line that she dropped about having to explain to her 3-year-old about
we've got that. I've got that audio.
I won't spoil it.
She also had the cry heard around the world. You have that part of it?
Mm-hmm.
The cry heard around the world.
Was a cry?
I don't know about that, unless we may be interpreting something differently.
Sam, what was the? How did they?
Well, let me play.
Okay.
Is there nothing going on in traffic, Joan?
Traffic. Really nothing. No, you're
All
fine.
right, so let's continue to play this audio from Erica Kirk, and this is my selected cuts of the highlights of an incredible, inspirational 16-minute speech.
Charlie always believed that God's design for marriage and the family was absolutely amazing, and it is. It is, and it was the greatest joy of his life. And over, he would tell all these young people to come and find their future spouse, become wives and husbands and parents. And the reason why is because he wanted you all to experience what he had and still has. He wanted everyone to bring heaven into this earth through love and joy that comes from raising a family. It's beautiful. Charlie always said that if he ever ran for office, I know a lot of you asked if he ever was going to, but privately he told me if he ever did run for office that his top priority would be to revive the American family.
I love that. And that sort of dovetails into what we were just talking about. I don't know how old she is, but to be honest, this feels inappropriate to talk about, but I don't think that somebody like Charlie would want his wife to be alone forever. Do you know what I mean? You find a good man who, and the same for divorced couples, you find a good man who will support you in being a good parent and support you in trying to, raise a good family. And I think that is what a lot of people, and I'm seeing people on the super text line saying, oh, yeah, we thought about that too.
Yeah.
Would she ever get married again?
She's
So
36. She's actually a little bit older than Charlie.
Okay.
I've had a little experience with this because my daughter was 24 years old and had just had a baby, 4 months old, when her husband passed away. And she found love again, and I wanted, found love again. It was her first love.
This is an amazing story, folks.
Yeah. And they got married 2 weeks ago. As everybody knows, I was gone for a little bit for her wedding. But honestly, it was God-breathed. It was the God's plan from the beginning for these two to be together. But there were circumstances that, his parents didn't want them to be married when they were younger. And so they went apart from each other, and she married her husband, wonderful guy, and he passed away. And now, her first love is her love again. And they've been married, and they're wonderfully happy. So putting this to Erica Kirk's, I mean, if she's intended to be married again, God will do it. God will make that pathway, and it'll be obvious to her.
She's very, obviously you could just hear from this speech, she's very God-driven.
Absolutely. And she'll know.
Yeah, and so she'll know.
Yeah.
How old, if you don't mind me asking, how old was your...
My daughter?
Yeah, your
granddaughter? She was 4
granddaughter.
months old.
Yeah. Just an amazing story. Like, you told me that, I teared up. It was an off-air conversation.
And
So
that was the Reader's Digest version of it. But
that is the Reader's Digest version, because that was like a 35-minute conversation you and I had behind the scenes. So Yeah, and I think a lot of people, I know Amy and I spoke about it, our friends spoke about it as well, people on the super text line telling us that, that's an interesting discussion to have. But one of the things also that I watched over the weekend were all the stories of how many Americans responded to this speech. It was about greatness. Her speech was about greatness, communication, love, and hope. And I'm going to give you one example. You know that she had a clothing line, Joan?
Oh, I did not. What?
She had a clothing line. It's called Proclaim. And almost every single item on her clothing line is now sold out.
Oh, I bet.
And then there's also been an outpour from some celebrities, some athletes donating. Yep. They're doing it in silent. They don't want the praise over it. Maybe, if there's potential controversy that might come with it. But the response has gone international even.
Well, and coming up, we're going to talk about what is going on with the chapters in all the schools, Turning Point chapters that are now, they're requesting to have chapters in all of these different schools, universities, and high schools. The numbers are just incredible. So we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more. I think I've got a little bit of time, don't we? I got a little bit of time to play one more cut. So this is one more cut from Erica Kirk, and then we'll pick it up after the break. But here she's talking a little bit more about Charlie's legacy.
The evildoers responsible for my husband's assassination have no idea what they have done.
Oh, and wait till you hear the outpouring of support. We've only just touched on it. So it is 5:22 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. By the way, also coming up today, a couple of things. Number one, we got John Rich, who's going to be joining us later today at 6:38. And coming up at 8:05, Joan, we've got the state senator who represents Memphis. We broke the news to you on Friday that Governor Lee, Donald Trump, the National Guard is going to be going into Memphis. We do have the state senator who represents Memphis. I think his name is Paul Taylor. I've interviewed him before. He is going to come up at 8:05 right here on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Again, Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986. Joan's got the news coming up at 5:30. Joan.
Yeah, we've got the latest into what's happening in the investigation with Charlie Kirk's killer. It's all coming up here at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
528, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. WTN Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986. 615-737-WWTN. I want to do one more audio bite. And then in the news, I want to talk about what Joan and Sam were kind of cluing me in on, I guess. The cry heard around the world. I've not heard what this is. So we'll talk about that and a whole lot more straight ahead. This is the final audio bite that I have of Erica Kirk and her incredible, and I mean incredible, speech over the weekend.
They killed Charlie because he preached a message of patriotism, faith, and of God's merciful love. But they should all know this. If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea. You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country and this world. You have no idea. You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife. The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry. To everyone listening tonight across America, the movement my husband built will not die. It won't. I refuse to let that happen. It will not die. All of us will refuse to let that happen. No one will ever forget my husband's name, and I will make sure of it.
So that is, and that's the cry you were talking about, Joan?
Yes.
Okay.
That makes me cry now. Ugh.
It does. So on Sunday, yesterday, they say that speech, and by the way, I lied. I do have one more cut from this speech. But on Sunday, they have seen more than 32,000 inquiries from people wanting to start new campus chapters. 32,000. Right now, they have 9, and just to put those numbers in perspective, right now they have 900 official college chapters and around 1,200 high school, so about 3,500 total. They just got 32,000 inquiries. That, my friends, is amazing, incredible, and inspirational. She told folks to go and join the movement, start a chapter to get involved. She said go to tpusa.com for information, tpusa.com for more information. It is 5:30 on WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. A gathering at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. last night. Supporters and friends, along with President Trump and some cabinet officials, they were there to honor the life of Charlie Kirk. His alleged killer is expected to be charged soon.
Investigators also confirming they've now interviewed Robinson's roommate, with whom they say he was romantically involved. Officials say Robinson had no military experience, but was proficient with a firearm. Multiple social media posts by his family show him posing with guns.
That's ABC's Megan Norwood. Meantime, President Trump announcing major investigations into groups of interest that are already underway as part of the murder probe, saying the problem is on the left. Now, one of those groups is called Armed Queers Salt Lake City. They scrubbed their social media after Kirk was killed. Other news, a motorcycle driver has died after crashing into the back of a car. This happened yesterday afternoon along Gallatin Pike South. Now, police are saying that a Toyota RAV4 had slowed down to make a right turn, but 36-year-old C.W. Smith, riding a motorcycle, slammed into the back of it and was thrown from the bike. Metro Nashville police saying there were no signs of impairment. And the victim of a hit and run in Nashville has died. On Thursday, 28-year-old Nicholas Lionheart of Charlotte, North Carolina, was hit by an SUV while crossing 4th Avenue. He was taken to a hospital, but he died on Saturday morning. WSMV4's Alexandria Adams.
Police are telling us that 41-year-old George Hennon called Nashville police officers hours later. He then admitted to his involvement in this accident. We know that he was arrested shortly after.
That is the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. just that one crash this morning. It's East Old Hickory Boulevard at Delaware Avenue and Heron Walk. Otherwise, the roadways are looking really good this morning. I see no delays on 24 this morning. 65 heading in from the north. Well, that looks a little bit slow around the Goodlettsville area, just volume there. And no problem so far on 40. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.537, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Appreciate you listening. All right, I got one more Erica Kirk audio bite, and then I've got some other stuff to talk about. But this was where she spoke about telling folks, I need you to be inspired to go to church. And I think a lot of people were, from what I understand. Listen to this.
But most important of all, if you aren't a member of a church, I beg you to join one. A Bible-believing church. Our battle is not simply a political one. Above all, it is spiritual. It is spiritual. The spiritual warfare is palpable. When I got home last night, Gigi, our daughter, just ran into my arms. And I talked to her and she said, Mommy, I missed you. I said, I missed you too, baby. She goes, where's Daddy? What do you tell a 3-year-old? She's 3. I said, baby, Daddy loves you so much. Don't you worry. He's on a work trip with Jesus so he can afford your blueberry budget.
Oh.
Whoo boy.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Yeah.
So that was inspiring, heartfelt, sad, inspirational. I mean, it was everything.
Yeah, and there's monsters online tearing her apart for saying, how could you say that to your 3-year-old?
You know what the thing is, though? And my give a crap about what people on the left have to say.
Yep.
I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're right to point them out. Robbie Starbuck and others are doing a terrific job hunting these monsters down.
Yeah.
And I love what Robbie's doing. I love what people are doing. And here's what I don't understand. This is interesting. Since you brought this up, I think I've got a piece of audio here that that is complimentary. By the way, I love what happened at the Kennedy Center last night, where you have, I mean, I don't know how many people did the Kennedy Center hold?
Well, that's a good question.
But there were a lot of people at the Kennedy Center. It did look sold out. And I think that for, Charlie Kirk, of course, the world is literally mourning. The Kennedy Center was full, and they had all kinds. I've got some great audio that I'm going to play.
About 2,500 people.
About 2,500 people. So there was a lot of people it was sold out. And they had, people are sending me videos from what happened here in Franklin, Tennessee yesterday at the Charlie Kirk Memorial. So they have had memorials all across not only America, but the world also for Charlie Kirk. I don't want to do it here. I can't do it here. But coming up in the next hour, I will play some of the audio from some of the folks there in the at the Kennedy Center, because they had some great things to say about Charlie Kirk, and I loved what they had to say. By the way, I just reposted. I copied an old tweet of Charlie Kirk's. You know what it said? From 2016. Charlie Kirk said, you can tell a lot about people by the way that they react when people die.
Mm.
I mean, boy, yeah. Oh boy.
Wow.
Right?
Prophetic.
That's what I said, actually, in my copy of the tweet of Charlie Kirk then. So I think that, we are, and that's why I'm kind of trying to focus on the good things that people are saying, because I think that, again, the idiots are indeed out there, unfortunately. But it's one of those things where we know that they're out there. Here it is. Here's what I wanted to play. Are you guys ready? This is an MSNBC analyst, and he is talking about how people like Robbie and others, and of course I talk a lot about Robbie because he's a friend of the station. I consider him a friend of the show. I've had him on many times. I think he was on Friday with Chris Hand. And so he's doing great work. And there's a lot of, I don't know what you call them, but like internet hunters, if you will. And Robbie is exposing all of these people. I want you to listen closely to what this MSNBC analyst had to say. Listen very close.
I think that this push for mass firings could become quite significant, and it already is. I mean, compared to the aftermath of January 6th, this does seem to be turning into a very aggressive attempt to purge not just, government officials or in the Hegseth example in the Defense Department, but also specifically people who work in education, who work in healthcare, who work in government. Those are the fields that a lot of these right-wing figures have been mentioning over and over again when talking about how just random internet users have responded to this shooting.
So wait, what are they doing? Are they scouring social media? Is that what they're doing? Or getting hearsay? Somebody said something? I mean,
so there's one website called Charlie's Murderers that's gotten a huge following on on Twitter, and they basically have assembled over, the last count I saw was like 40,000 different examples of just, essentially a grassroots, people giving screenshots, names, professions. So it's already getting a little bit out of hand.
I'm so confused. Maybe somebody can help me. So isn't the purpose of social media to get as much attention as possible, right? So if you're one of these 40, and I've asked Sam to look that up, but if you are online celebrating, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're online celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, well, you're doing that for attention, are you not? Do you know what I've noticed? Is this wrong, Joan? Do you know what I've noticed?
What's that?
That some of these folks that are out there that are celebrating Charlie Kirk and his death, do you know they just look ugly?
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I've noticed that too.
They're ugly inside and out.
So I think the website, probably since being mentioned on MSNBC, has been under attack because it can't be reached.
Ooh.
So.
Well.
What's it called again?
CharliesMurderers.com. Shia Reichik lives at TikTok doing the same thing as Robbie Starbuck. And
yeah. There's a lot of these folks that are doing this.
And when people want to complain about it, I want to remind everybody that when you questioned the vaccine, when you questioned the death of George Floyd, the exact same thing happened to Republicans, conservative-leaning people. Right. I was just reading last night in one of my textbooks of comm theory, social judgment theory, and the way we, devise how we judge people based on how they answer a given set of questions.
Yeah.
And then we were asked by our professor, do you have any ethical qualms about applying it? And I said, no, because eventually the social judgment shifts and changes based on the truth when it comes out. Mm-hmm. We know the truth in this instance. We're not going to have to wait for anything else to come out. Yeah. When it comes to applying the judgment, the righteous judgment in my mind.
Well, and this guy, I don't know who this guy is, but on MSNBC, but when he says it's gotten out of hand, I'm sorry, but the left spent how many years cancel culturing conservatives and Republicans? So turnabout is fair play. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. And that is what I think is going on now. But here's the deal. And it's just what you said, Sam. There have been a lot of conservatives over the years that have been canceled. I'm going to air quote that, but canceled for really, to be honest, very little to no reason at all. They may have just said the wrong thing at the wrong time. They misspoke, whatever. But these folks are openly celebrating the assassination of someone. And I'm just telling you that when this guy says, well, it's getting out of hand, how exactly is it getting out of hand? All these folks are doing, all Robbie Starbuck and Libs of TikTok and all those folks are doing is bringing them the attention that they so crave.
Yep. If you didn't want to be associated with your comment or your post, your face and your name wouldn't be part of it. You could go on with your anonymous, which is even more pathetic in my mind. You can't stand by your own words, putting your name on it. But if you didn't want that out there, it wouldn't be. And you have the right to that speech, but your employer also has the right to terminate you for supporting domestic terrorism.
Absolutely.
And political violence.
Don't
Absolutely.
cover your job.
Yeah, well, and somebody actually sent me a note over the weekend asking me, because this person was torn about it. I wish I had it up, but where he basically said that, which is, okay, so and he wasn't challenging me, he was actually looking for my perspective. And he was struggling with just that. If we're so First Amendment driven and oriented, then why is it these proud conservatives are going after these people's, jobs for expressing their First Amendment right? Well, my answer to that was, well, nobody is saying they can't say it. However, if you want to draw attention to it, well, then as a conservative, then you do, and let the chips fall where they may. We're just playing fight fire. We're fight fire with fire, right? That is ultimately what we are doing. And so, in the case of Robbie Starbuck, one of the things that he's doing, let me see if I can find one, where he is basically saying, let me just find one real quickly. He'll say, meet Tamar Sherinian. Tamar is a professor at UT Knoxville. Someone sent me this horrific post to my DMs. UTK must take action. Email, and then he's got the email address to ask President Randy Boyd to act now. Also, why do we even have queer theory or queer anthropology specialists?
What?
Yep.
At the University of Tennessee?
I thought
this woman apparently is a queer anthropologist. What the hell is that?
Someone that's going to contradict, what history and science says about old bones, I guess.
So here's what she said. She said, the world is better off without him in it, even those who are claiming to be sad for his wife and kids, like his kids were, you know what, I don't even, whatever. I don't want to focus on the hate today. I just don't.
To that point, the outpouring, and I think, Dan, you hit this earlier about your tolerance, the worldwide opinion is that our era of tolerance is over. We're not playing your dumb games. We're not respecting what you have to say when it goes completely out of bounds and by the wayside, and you're going to get met with that moving forward.
So one of the things, and somebody, 5294, Joan, you can pipe in on this.
Okay.
I go to World Outreach Church in Murfreesboro. Charlie just did a podcast with our preacher 3 months ago. Yesterday, church was standing room only.
Yep. And
that's your church. That is Pastor Alan Jackson. And
he was supposed to be at church this coming weekend. There's a conference called Culture and Christianity.
Yes.
And, it's something that pastor brings in a whole bunch of speakers about the culture and where we're going and how to change things. And Charlie and Erica were both scheduled to be there.
So one of the things, and you were at church this Sunday, you noticed that there were more people there than usual.
My gosh. It was like Easter, when everybody shows up. And we got there a little bit late. And we ended up, being seated in fold-out seats all along, along the side. We couldn't really see anything. But to be there was just amazing.
So I watched, Amy and I decided that we were going to watch Pastor Alan Jackson over the weekend. Now, I'm going to admit to you, I've seen little clips here and there, but never really went, it wasn't really my thing. But I will tell you that it was an incredible experience. And I was amazed at how good his message was, Pastor Alan Jackson. Now, this is where Joan goes. This is where Chris Hand goes. And I don't know who else on the staff goes, but what an amazing sermon, Pastor Alan Jackson. I mean, he had some funny lines. He wasn't just, what's the right way to say this? There's no other way to say it. He doesn't bombard you with, a plethora of Bible verses. He'll read a Bible verse, apply it to, today's headlines or today's storyline, and then he tells you the meaning behind it, and he applies today's storylines to the Bible. and Bible verses. It was incredible. I'm just going to tell you, it was amazing.
Yeah, he also always includes a call to action. So what are we supposed to do as people of faith?
Mm-hmm.
How are we supposed to react to what's happening culturally and, in what's happening in our everyday lives?
Mm-hmm.
And so you always walk away knowing, okay, here's what I need to do. And so that's meaningful to people right now. We all need to know how are we supposed to react to this?
So we had a Daily Dan poll, and the Daily Dan poll, I don't know, how did you word it, Sam?
Have you noticed more people going to church this weekend?
All right, so when you went to church, did you notice more people going to church this weekend? Because I believe that more people did. I spoke to a lot of people over the weekend. A lot of folks had that sentiment. What does the Daily Dan poll say?
Right, 73% yes, a 27% no. I'm going to point out one of the things I saw in conjunction with that, the amount of people that said, I've been on the fence about Christ. I've been on the fence about Christianity. I'm ordering my first Bible. I'm going to go to my first service on Sunday.
Wow.
That has been something flooding the socials. And in those vigils that have been held worldwide, they pretty much all have concluded with the people walking away chanting Christ is King.
Oof.
Which is the most powerful, and that's how Charlie wanted to be remembered.
Wow.
Yep.
And that is just, to me, it restores my faith. And I think one of the things we forget about as believers is there's going to be highs and lows. There's going to be things that pull us away and things that push us toward.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's ever been something to push us toward like there has been in this past week.
I will be the first to admit I've had a bit of a crisis over the last few years for stuff that has happened. And the fact that I was inspired to watch Alan Jackson by Charlie's death and Charlie's words, I think says a lot to me personally. You know what's so funny? I practiced for about 30 seconds on my way in, that whole little thing, trying to get through it without tearing up, and I
didn't make it.
I couldn't do it. I tried so hard.
But Dan, can I just say,
man.
that's what we love about you. Like you're real. Like all of us would feel, but we don't have to be in front of a microphone. So good for you.
Well, I'll tell you what. People know a lot of stuff has happened to me over the past few years, but man alive. Like I really appreciated what Pastor Jackson had to say. And I really appreciate the fact that the motivation that Charlie's death has had on people like me to maybe reconnect, I think is great. And I mean, I don't want to say it's a silver lining. That just sounds so terrible. But if this brings more people like me either back to church, or if it brings people, Sam, as you were saying, if it brings people to the church for the first time, I think that is what Erica was saying, which is, you killed Charlie, but you didn't kill what he stood for, and his message is now more powerful than ever. And I think people have woken up. Coming up, by the way, I do have some other news, but coming up, I've got an audio bite and a video of something that is the Democrats' absolute worst fear, and it is coming up here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super text line is open, 615-737-9986. Joan has the news at 6. Joan, what's coming up?
You're just asking me this so you can take a break and stop crying. No, I know what you're doing. National Guard troops in Memphis. Also, this is the week that we've been waiting for from the Federal Reserve. We've got a little preview of what they could be saying this week. It's coming up here at 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning. Now 6 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We're at 70 now, but hey, we're going to 92 later today. The forecast coming up right after the news. The Trump administration planning to authorize National Guard troops to enter Tennessee's second largest city. It follows similar activity in L.A., Washington, D.C., and in Boston.
City officials in Memphis asking a lot of questions. For example, when is this deployment supposed to happen? When will it happen, if it happens at all? When will the troops arrive? Where will the troops come from? What will they be doing on the ground in terms of crime fighting? Will they be wearing military uniforms? How will they interact with the community and the police force that's already there? So a lot of questions still left to be answered.
Yeah, it's ABC's Faith Abube. Now, Memphis tops the list for having the highest crime rate in the nation, despite recent reports that crime is on the decline. U.S. News lists Memphis as the most dangerous city in the nation. The search is underway for 3 inmates who escaped from the Madison County Jail. Investigators are saying the 3 broke out of the recreation area Sunday morning, and they believe the 3 escaped in a stolen truck. Dylan Decker, Brandon Forbes, and Cameron Campbell were in the jail on various charges, including drug possession and parole violation. Market numbers now brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
A day before a key meeting of the Federal Reserve's Board of Governors, the list of attendees is still up in the air. President Trump's pick to fill an open seat faces a vote in the Senate today. Trump is still demanding the firing of Fed Governor Lisa Cook. The board is widely expected to lower interest rates, sending stock futures higher this morning. The NASDAQ composite rose 0.4% on Friday. The Dow fell 274 points to close at 45,834. The S&P slipped a fraction. The latest installment in the Demon Slayer franchise has broken a 26-year box office record for an anime movie, taking in $70 million domestically. Without promotion or marketing, the Spinal Tap sequel pulled in a paltry $1.7 million. And Krispy Kreme is falling into autumn with a new collection of donuts inspired by state fairs. Offerings include caramel churro and a glazed donut dipped in blue icing and coated with cotton candy-flavored sugar. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
My mouth is watering. Right now, we've got stock futures all in the green. Dow futures plus 85, NASDAQ futures gaining 14, and the S&P futures up 10 points. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. There's some construction set up in the West Loop this morning. It's on 40 eastbound before I-65 West. It's taken out 2 left lanes, and it's very slow from I-440 up to that spot. Otherwise, this morning, traveling on 24, there are backups beginning to form here from the Laverne area into Nashville. That's just normal volume delays. Looks like it's a little bit slow on 40 as well. Look, that's probably that construction spot that's causing the delays heading westbound. No big delays this morning on 2465 coming in from the north. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.607 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you. Hope you are doing well. We have a lot going on this morning, and I'm glad you're with us. So I've got what I would say is the Democrats' worst nightmare, and I'm going to play that piece of audio for you coming up next. But there was a huge event at the Kennedy Center last night. And I got to tell you, there was a lot of really, really great things said about not only, of course, Charlie Kirk, but really where America is today on faith and religion. And in my opinion, and we talked about this a little bit in the 5 o'clock hour, about a reemergence of faith and belief in God because of, unfortunately, the death of Charlie Kirk. But I think what it's done is woken up a lot of people. So we had all across the country, and people are sending me a video of some of these Charlie Kirk memorials across the country. There was one in Franklin, Tennessee, of course, here in Franklin in Middle Tennessee. Somebody sent me one in Huntington Beach, California, as a matter of fact. And so if you want to send your favorite, go ahead and send it to the super text line, 615-737-9986. And by the way, starting a new hour very quickly, the Daily Dan poll, watch us anywhere if you would, YouTube, Facebook, X, 997WTN.com, Rumble, you name it. Listen to us anywhere as well, anywhere you get your podcasts and streaming and all that. But the Daily Dan poll today is, did you see a lot of resurgence of people going to church over the weekend? How did we exactly phrase it, and what's the poll so far?
How you just said it. Have you noticed more people going to church this weekend? 72% saying yes, 28% saying no.
So RFK Jr., and not surprising, and I played excerpts in the 5 o'clock hour of the speech of Erica Kirk. Amazing, amazing speech. You can find the clips that I played and the 16-minute speech in full on my X page, and follow me at Dan Manda Show. RFK Jr. was at this event for the, for Charlie Kirk in memoriam of Charlie Kirk. And a lot of great speakers there, a lot of folks there from the Trump administration. This was RFK Jr. on what he had to say about Charlie Kirk.
A 17-year-old niece left for Europe to go to college. And while she was packing, her mother, Amaryllis, my daughter-in-law, noticed that she had put a Bible in her suitcase. And Amaryllis was curious about it. And she asked her, and Zoe said to her, "I want to live like Charlie Kirk."
I think there's a lot of people that are either reaffirming their faith or they're just looking at his videos. And what they're doing is they may be discovering Charlie Kirk for the first time. And I think one of the things that I said last week, as you folks know, I put out a couple of reels about this on social media, was share his words, share his videos. They're timeless. And yes, they are important as well. This is Tulsi Gabbard and what she had to say last night at the Kennedy Center.
Those who are full of anger and hopelessness and hate right now, some of them protesting outside this hall today, unfortunately, they do not have the spiritual happiness that Charlie experienced. They're empty, and this is where their anger is coming from. It is their rejection of God, their desire to be God, and therefore they have made God their enemy. I have hope today that every one of us will do our best to shine the light of God's love in our lives and in our work, that we will treat each other with aloha, respect, and stand strong and unshakable in the defense of our God-given rights and freedoms. May God bless you all, and may God bless this great nation.
Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, again, I don't have time to play all of the incredible and amazing comments. There was one kid, though, who I believe is indeed the Democrats' worst nightmare. And I've got a story on the Democrats, a news story on the Democrats and voter registration coming up. But there at the Kennedy Center last night, a 14-year-old kid named Bryson.
He was my idol. Like, I remember watching his videos, wanting to be like him. Like, I would just see the way he would debate, and he was stayed calm while the left was just yelling at him, and he was just so nice about it. And then they hated him so much because he knew he was right, but they just didn't want to admit it. So they ended up hating him, and they just killed him for it.
Yeah, I mean, that is 14-year-old Bryson, and for what it's worth, he's black, if you're listening on the radio. And I think that he's obviously someone who is very familiar with what Charlie Kirk stood for. Now, we do have some news as far as the person who not only, of course, killed Charlie Kirk, allegedly, but also his roommate. If you know, if you don't know, it turns out that his roommate was transgender. I've got some information on that coming up as well. Apparently, he may have had, according to the New York Post, not only was he involved in this transgender relationship, but also he may have been fascinated by furries.
Well, the transgender is pictured in his furry costume.
Yeah. There is that. Did you know there's a militant, I didn't know this, in Utah, right, where there's all those Mormons. There's also a militant transgender community. Now, that's probably, to be honest, I mean, there's a whole story in the New York Post about it that I'm going to get to. But in Utah, there's a militant transgender community, furries as well. And now they're investigating these various organizations because they may have known ahead of time what this plot was. And so you got all these folks that are out there, and they are celebrating, of course, in the trans community, they're celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. But now, according to the New York Post and others, you've got the Justice Department. They are now investigating these organizations, these online organizations, for who knew what when. I've got that part of the story straight ahead. It is 6:15. Time to check the roads on WTN. As far as your weather goes for today, it's going to be hotter this week. Hot with a lot of sun, high of 92, going to feel like 95. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. The governor of Utah, a guy by the name of Spencer Cox, he was on State of the Union. Oh, by the way, this guy, Spencer Cox, just so you folks know that I know, at one point in time, a serious, that probably still is, a very serious anti-Trumper. And I don't necessarily know his opinion of Charlie Kirk, but from what I understand, the two did have some not so good back and forth. So take what he says here with a grain of salt. He's trying to say the right things, and I understand that, but the reality is that he said a lot of things in the past about Donald Trump that would tell you that he is no friend to the conservative movement. But anyway, he was on with Dana Bash over the weekend, and they were talking about exactly what was going on with the alleged murderer.
Some outlets are reporting that the suspect lived with a transgender partner. Is that accurate? And are investigators looking at this part of his life as a possible motivation?
Yes, definitely. And yes, I can confirm that. I know that has been reported and that the FBI has confirmed that as well, that the roommate was a romantic partner, a male transitioning to female. I can say that he has been very cooperative. This partner has been incredibly cooperative, had no idea that this was happening, and is working with investigators right now.
And how is that relevant to the investigation when it comes to the motive? Are you learning that?
Sure. Well, yeah, that's what we're trying to figure out right now. Again, it's easy to draw conclusions from that.
Why, yes, it is easy to draw conclusions from that. So the accused killer, named Tyler Robinson, and while the governor says that the trans roommate may be cooperating, we've been reporting, and of course others are as well, that the suspect himself is not. So the roommate is, the suspect himself is not, they say, and this is from ABC News and Martha Raddatz, he has not confessed to authorities, he is not cooperating, but all the people around him are cooperating, which is interesting because his father and that minister or preacher both said that he essentially admitted that he did this. So why would he not admit it to the authorities? I mean, they'll figure all of that out, but President Trump has said that there's a lot of the people, and this is a quote, President Trump saying that a lot of the people that you would traditionally say are on the left are already under major investigation in connection with Charlie Kirk's assassination. The governor says that Robinson appeared to have become radicalized after dropping out of Utah State University. He noted in an interview with NBC's Meet the Press that Robinson's family was conservative, but said his ideology was very different than his family. The governor, because, of course, remember, a lot of people try to say, oh, look, he's conservative. No, he's not. He's actually very, very, very much on the left.
You're spreading disinformation, folks. Don't do it.
The governor has previously said Robinson mentioned that Charlie Kirk was coming to that school, UVU, and why he didn't like him at a recent dinner with the family. That did raise some red flags. The governor seemed to blame internet culture for the change in ideology, saying clearly there is a lot of gaming going on. Friends that have confirmed that there was kind of that deep, dark internet, Reddit culture, and these other dark places on the internet where this person was going deep, he said. You saw that on the casings, the memification that is happening in our society today. He points out, and we all have been talking about, the bullets used in Kirk's death had engravings of transgender and anti-fascist ideology on them, officials said on Thursday. President Trump, he was asked about all of this over the weekend, and the president, not really surprising, but I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to get to the bottom of this as far as, you know, what are these groups that are online? Where is this radicalization happening?
The problem is on the left. If you look at the problem is on the left. It's not on the right, like some people like to say on the right. The problem we have is on the left. And when you look at the agitators, you look at the scum that speaks so badly of our country, the American flag burnings all over the place, that's the left. That's not the right. The problem is on the left.
So that is President Trump, and he's right. Now you've got this headline. Article in the New York Post showing that these weird pro-trans groups may have been behind this. This is the headline. Charlie Kirk assassination investigation widens to probe whether pro-trans online groups knew in advance. And again, this is the New York Post. The feds have widened their investigation into the assassination of Charlie Kirk to probe whether pro-trans online groups and others connected with Tyler Robinson knew in advance about the plans to kill Charlie Kirk. Law enforcement sources said that investigators are examining leftist groups both in Utah and online to figure out if they helped him with the shooting or at least heard it was going to happen. The probe includes groups in online gaming community Steam as well as a pro-trans organization called Armed Queers SLC, Salt Lake City, which took down their Instagram after Kirk was killed. The source confirmed, and meantime, they talk about, all of these disturbing social media posts about Charlie Kirk, raising questions about whether some of these folks may have known about the assassination before it happened. And so they've been talking about this, and it's one of the conversations that is out there today. By the way, coming up right before the news, we do have Joan coming up with the news at 6:30, but right before that newscast, I'm going to tell you about a Tennessee connection with one of these horrific, insidious online groups. 6:21, and Joan does have the news coming up at 6:30. Joan?
Yeah, coming up, a Brentwood teenager killed in an electric motorcycle crash. Also, President Trump calls him a communist. Now Zoran Mamdani is getting a big endorsement. Those stories coming up here at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Do you know, Joan, what I find interesting about the big-time endorsements that Mamdani is getting?
What's that?
Do you know what crosses my mind? Go ahead, make my day.
Ooh.
Go ahead, make my day. Joan will tell you who it is because I don't want to blow Joan's tease. But I'm telling you, the more that you have these leftist, very high-ranking government officials that are endorsing Mamdani, I'm telling you, they are making the conservatives' day. And I've got some details on that coming up here on Super Talk 99.7. By the way, John Rich is going to be joining us at about 6:36 here on Nashville's Morning News. Your bathroom is one of the biggest selling points when it comes to getting your home sold, and Zintex can help you with a huge upgrade and a special price and offer just for my listeners. Now, you can upgrade your bathtub into a walk-in shower with grab bars and a bench seat from Zintex. This can help with the older folks in your life, and a bathtub redesign can make your bathroom look spectacular. Now, a little bit about Zintex. Family owned and operated for 25 years, and last year they were voted as one of the best places to work in the construction industry. Now, this is important because happy employees mean great customer service. It's one of many reasons why I put my trust behind Zintex. Now, your work is going to be done in a day or less, on time and on budget. And right now, a great offer for my listeners. You mentioned WTN. You are going to get a free Kohler toilet, and you're going to get $999 off your bathroom project, or enjoy no interest for 2 years. Whatever works best for you. Find them online. It is Zintex, Zintex.com. That's Zintex.com. Dan Mandis here at 624 Generator Supercenter. The weather in Middle Tennessee can get crazy, which is why you need a backup home standby generator from my friends at the Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. Now, you can get a free quote and get peace of mind when you have one installed. The Generator Supercenter does feature expert installation, 24-hour monitoring as well. They're not going to leave you in the dark. And yes, financing is available. Call them, tell them Dan told you to reach out when the power is out in your neighborhood. The Generator Supercenter, they are here to keep your power on. 615-879-1952, 615-879-1952. The website, GeneratorSupercenterofNashville.com. 629, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So, talking about all of these transgender groups online, New York Post is saying that the Trump administration is looking into all of these groups and the radicalization that is happening online. So, there is one woman who is out there, and she is basically saying that Ben Shapiro is next. Now, and I don't know if, I should say, I don't know what this person is, man, woman, whatever, but the name is Ermaya Farazian, and she is out of Memphis. And there's a photograph of her. She is the leader of one of these transgender movements in Utah, and people are telling Ben Shapiro on Twitter, this is how serious the threat to Ben Shapiro is. This is the leader of that group. And there's a photograph of her, and she's holding some sort of a rifle. I don't know what it is. But again, they say she is a Palestinian leader, or a Palestinian leading a transgender movement in Utah. And she does list her hometown as Memphis, Tennessee. So there's a lot of problems within that community. Don't be fooled. And so I think that is why the New York Post and others are now saying that there's an investigation into the murderer of Charlie Kirk, alleged murder of Charlie Kirk. What was the radicalization that he went through? A conservative family, and then he suddenly becomes radicalized by some of these groups. At least that is the thought going forward. It is 6:30 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And Secretary of State Marco Rubio meeting in Israel today with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
Every single hostage, both living and deceased, needs to be home immediately. Hamas can no longer continue to exist as an armed element that threatens the peace and security, not just of Israel, but of the world, and that the people of Gaza deserve a better future.
And that pair will hold a joint news conference later on today. In the New York City mayoral race, the man who calls himself a Democratic socialist has landed a big endorsement. The governor, Kathy Hochul, is throwing her support behind Zoran Mamdani.
Governor Kathy Hochul has described herself as moderate and a strong supporter of Israel, but says she and Mamdani are united when it comes to stopping Trump administration policies that could hurt the city, like cuts to Medicaid. Hochul was Andrew Cuomo's lieutenant governor, but distanced herself from him after his resignation and allegations he sexually harassed 11 women.
That's ABC's Sonia Rincon. Now, President Trump and others call Mamdani a communist. A Brentwood teenager has died at Vanderbilt Children's Hospital from his injuries after an electric motorcycle crash. 15-year-old Chetan Babu lost control of his motorcycle Saturday. He was driving at a high rate of speed down a sidewalk on Old Hickory Boulevard. Police say that he was thrown from that motorcycle and struck a fire hydrant. And we're getting you ready for the spring here. The Metro Beautification and Environment Commission is giving away free daffodil bulbs for Nashvillians. They want you to plant them in public spaces this fall. Through October 3rd, you can pick up the bulbs and plant them at Nashville schools, libraries, and parks. Do that. Pick them up at the NDOT warehouse on South 5th Street in Nashville. That is the latest news, traffic, and weather coming up. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 6:32, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I want to tell you about my friends at the Glock store. Now, listen, I'm always talking about the Glock store because this is a great store. Now, it's no secret that I'm a big 2A supporter. I own guns, I carry guns, but owning and carrying is just not enough. Friends, you also have to be trained in how to use them. And I will add to the copy here. You've got to be trained in the right way. That's where the Glock store comes in. Now, training is more important than just renting a lane because once you learn how to hold your breath and squeeze the trigger until it goes bang and put a hole in a piece of paper, you've done all you're ever going to do in a lane range. And when you do it 50, 500, 5,000 times, you're simply doing the same thing over and over again. That is not training. No, training is what you get at the Glock store in their Shoot 270 indoor shooting rooms, personalized training from accomplished instructors, engaging multiple targets at varying distances, drawing from concealment again and again until you no longer have to think about how, but when. Now, owning a gun is a responsibility. Learning how to use it is a necessity. Knowing where to train, well, that's easy. It's the Glock store. Go to shoot270.com, make an appointment, fill out the waiver, and let the training begin. Shoot 270 indoor ranges only at the Glock store. Find them online. It is shoot270.com. Shoot270.com. Minutes from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere.
We're going to crash scene in Hillwood on 40 westbound at Charlotte Pike, exit 201. Otherwise, this morning, we've got some delays. They're normal volume delays heading in this morning on 24, on 40, heading westbound, and also on 65 and 24 at the merge there to the north. Otherwise, things are looking normal this morning. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.637 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on in, John Rich. It is always such a pleasure to speak to a proud conservative, a legendary conservative these days, and also a legendary musician as well. John Rich, welcome to Nashville's Morning News. How are you today, my friend?
I'm doing great, brother. Thanks for having me on.
So I love talking to you for a number of different reasons. Number one is you are such an outspoken conservative. Number two is you've got a lot of great things to say. So let's talk about, of course, the story that everybody is sadly talking about, and that is the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Tell me a little bit about, number one, whether or not you'd ever met Charlie, and number two, just your thoughts on the news of the last several days.
Yes, sir, I did. I had met Charlie a few times, actually played several of his big events, the big ones like he would do in Arizona, a national conference. And, you know, what you had there was a young man who, as the Bible would say, I am unashamed of the gospel of Christ. He was unashamed of it. He was willing to talk about it out in the open. He went to where the people were, which is Christ-like to the T. I mean, Jesus went to where the people were.
Yep.
And Charlie Kirk went to where the people were, and he really searched out people who were lost and confused and wanted to have civil discourse with them, as we all know, and that cost him his life. But I would have to think the second he saw Jesus, when that bullet hit him and his spirit left his body, and he was face to face with Jesus Christ and the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, that they put his arm around Charlie Kirk and said, "Come on in, son, you did a good job."
I got to tell you that there has, and I shared my own story in the 5 o'clock hour, but I think that there has been either an awakening or a reawakening of a path towards God here in the last, several days. And I think that we're seeing that not only in churches, but also online as well. Have you noticed that? I don't know what circles you run in. I mean, obviously conservative, but what have you seen as far as a reawakening of faith?
I see it out on the road and the concerts that we play. And these are country music concerts, but people are coming up to me every single night and telling me that I just got baptized last week, or nine kids at our church just got baptized. Keep doing what you're doing. I was just on the Sean Ryan show. I think a lot of people saw my Tucker Carlson interview. You know, part of what I do, I love Charlie Daniels, and I loved how Charlie would weave scripture into what he was talking about in his conversations. I have seen that in the New Testament when Stephen was stoned to death. Go look that up. When he was stoned to death, Christianity exploded. It went to the next level. And I think with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, now a Christian martyr, absolutely, I think you're going to see an explosion of people turning to God, opening their Bibles, maybe for the first time. This has gotten everyone's attention in a massive way.
One of the things that I'm hoping that people do is, you've got a massive social media following, of course, because you're John Rich. One of the things that I'm asking people to do is share those videos of Charlie Kirk. And there are thousands of them. Go to TikTok, go to Instagram, and obviously X and so forth, and find those videos, because I think that those are timeless, and share them. Is that one of the ways that you're planning on honoring Charlie Kirk, if you haven't already?
No doubt about it. And listen, the other night at a Big and Rich show, we actually had a moment of silence on stage in front of thousands of people in Georgia, and then I spoke for 2 or 3 minutes, not only about Charlie, but about what his message was and why people needed to. If you haven't given your life to Jesus, you need to consider it right now. Right now. I mean, I think Charlie being killed like that out of nowhere reminds all of us, you, me, everybody listening, tomorrow is not promised. You have to take advantage of today. You have to do what it is you're commanded to do if you're a Christian, and that is spread the gospel, tell people the truth.
I think one of the things that we also need to try to do, I don't know if you remember the 9/12 project. Remember that way back when? We all wanted to keep that feeling post 9/11, that unity after 9/11. And what I'm hoping is that after the death of Charlie Kirk, the pull towards Christianity, the pull towards church, the pull towards, God and this reawakening, I'm hoping that this is something that actually has some legs, that does continue. Do you think that that this pull is going to continue, or will it fade like many things do as time goes on?
No, I think things can fade, but the message of Jesus Christ is not one of those things. And I think I've already read that there have been tens of thousands of requests pouring into Turning Point USA from colleges and high schools wanting to open their own chapters. I think you're going to see an absolute tidal wave of young people come to Christ and go get married and start families and return back to those basic roots of what it means to be an American and what it means to be a Christian. No, I don't think it's going to fade at all. I think, matter of fact, quite the opposite is true.
I hope so. I got to tell you, John, that the speech that Erica Kirk made over the weekend was incredible and motivating.
She is going to become a living legend. She's going to become an icon, a lighthouse in the storm for tens of millions of people, whether you be young or you be middle-aged like a guy like me. She's going to be somebody that we're going to listen to and follow, because her message, again, her message just became more intense by 1,000,000%. I mean, and she's got the guts to do it, and she's going to do it, and she's going to be a major impact in the future.
As a musician, this is just my own, really lame curiosity, but as a musician and as a songwriter and as a conservative and somebody who's been honored for his outspoken conservatism, do you draw inspiration? I'm sure, it's just, days from when this happened, but do you draw inspiration from something like this? And does that end up in some, incredible inspiration for songwriting?
I mean, it brings such focus to me, and hopefully to everyone. I think that's what it does. It sharpens your focus. It makes you think long and hard before you make a decision, before you decide who I want to support, who I don't want to support, what I want to tell my kids, what I want to stand for out in the public. It sharpens that to a razor's edge when you see what just happened to Charlie Kirk. And I think we all feel a responsibility now more than ever to carry that message forward, because he's no longer here. He can't pick up the mic anymore, but we can. And I think that lays heavy on our shoulders.
In the news today, and then we're going to get to some other things, but in the news today, really President Trump announced this on Friday, and we covered it here, is the president, Governor Lee, there's going to be the National Guard sent to Memphis. And I don't know how you feel about that, but I think that this is hopefully the first step in trying to reclaim Memphis from the crime that is happening in that community.
I know a lot of people in Memphis. I was actually born in West Tennessee. I grew up in Texas, but I was born in West Tennessee. And I know a lot of great people out there in Memphis that have no protection. And I think when enough years, and it has been years, even decades go by, that a major city refuses to handle their problems and to protect their people, at some point, you have to come in over the top. And what President Trump is doing with the National Guard, I believe, is the right move. You've got to get Memphis under control. Highest crime rate per capita in the United States.
And, you and I both love Tennessee. And, of course, Memphis does have its problems. And so I don't know about you. I'm rooting for Memphis, and I'm hoping that they can get their act together like the National Guard has been able to do for Washington, D.C. We know that Memphis is a different entity than Washington, D.C. legally, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. Now, I'm calling this Surrogate Week, just so you know, John, where last week on Friday I had a former Congressman, Mark Green, talking about his support of Matt Van Epps, and you are supporting Jody Barrett for the 7th Congressional District. Talk a little bit about why you feel like Jody's the right person for the job.
So I've known Jody my entire adult life, literally since I was a senior in high school at Dixon County High School. And I've watched this man do things that were so against the grain of the establishment, just like I do. I mean, you guys all know me now as the guy that I just won't back up. If there's something egregious happening, even if it's being done by the Republican Party, I just won't back up. And that creates a lot of enemies in the Republican Party that don't like me at all, and they don't like Jody at all. And one of the things we did is Jody and I linked up to push back against Governor Lee's red flag laws. And we were able to stop that with red flag down. We were able to keep that from happening in Tennessee. I was on the outside, Jody was on the inside. We were able to stop that. Another one was the TVA trying to drop a methane gas plant on Cheatham County. Yep. Jody Barrett jumped in with me on that and helped me maneuver my way around to figure out how to stop that. He helped me stop that as well. I mean, so this guy, by the way, just got endorsed by the House Freedom Caucus. Okay, the most conservative faction of the Republican Party just wholeheartedly supported and endorsed Jody Barrett for District 7 in Congress. That is quite an endorsement, and I was really proud to see that. What you see now is the establishment, the Rhino establishment, coming after Jody with everything they have. There's a group called Club for Growth. Club for Growth. Trump calls them Club for Chinese Growth. He cannot stand them. And they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars against Jody Barrett right now on behalf of literally anybody that they think might be able to beat Jody. He is the last guy that they want in there. And that's actually a compliment, but it's also important that people can hear through that they go, why is somebody attacking Jody Barrett saying he was a Biden supporter? I heard one of those ads, and I thought, man, I wonder if anybody thinks that if John Rich would support someone who was a Biden supporter. I think we all know that's ridiculous. But what you've got is Jody's leading in some polls by as much as 10 points in this race, because District 7 knows Jody's the real McCoy, and they want to vote for him. And I'm going to be voting for him. We're all going to be behind Jody on this. So you've got to be able to look through this stuff and go, why is Club for Growth, why is somebody who's anti-Trump attacking Jody Barrett? Well, there's your answer. The Rhino establishment does not want him. These are the same people that supported Nikki Haley. These are the same people that were jumping on as delegates of Trump's competition when Trump was getting his mugshot taken, when Trump was having Mar-a-Lago raided. Some of the people running against Jody were delegates for DeSantis. Van Epps is an incredible soldier. That guy, I'd follow him into battle any day of the week. What an incredible soldier. But Matt Van Epps was the COVID czar. He was Tennessee's COVID czar under Bill Lee. He did what he was told by the governor, chain of command style. He's a military guy. That's how he thinks. And I think some people want to see him get in because he'll follow the line. He'll do what he's told. Jody is the opposite of that. He is the guy that bucks the system, bucks the establishment, if he thinks that the decisions they're making are not right for his constituents. And he has the proven record that he will and is that guy. That's why I support him and I trust him. If I was personally running for District 7, if John Rich was running for District 7, I would be saying and doing every single thing Jody Barrett is doing right now.
John, let me ask you, I know you got to tour and do all the great things you do. Have you ever thought about running for elected office?
I've been asked to run for everything from governor to Senate. I got asked to run for District 7. But I think right now I'm most effective with my voice, being able to let millions of people know what's really going on behind the scenes. For instance, these Club for Growth attack ads. I mean, hearing from me, hopefully people go, wow, I didn't even know what Club for Growth was. Yeah, well, they hate Donald Trump. Start with that. And they're attacking Jody Barrett. You do the math. I think I'm more effective in that role right now. And down the road, I don't know what I might wind up doing. I'll do whatever the good Lord tells me to do. I think I've shown you guys that I'll step into fights that most people probably wouldn't step into.
One of the things
right now, go ahead.
I was going to say one of the things that, and I've said this to Robbie Starbuck, his challenges as he was trying to run for Congress, he is far more effective being able to just do what he does outside of Congress, and I think that you're the same way, which is you're far more effective leading the charge. For example, with this TVA fight. I think that that's great. And so I think that you are somebody who definitely people listen to. I appreciate you being here with me on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. If you participate in any kind of local concert to honor Charlie Kirk, will you let us know?
Absolutely, sir. I certainly will. And thank you for having me on this morning. I know Charlie Kirk and his message is on all of our minds today. God bless his family.
Absolutely. And John Rich, always great to have you on. Thank you very much. It is 6:52 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986. It is, I'm calling this Surrogate Week, Joan, surrogates. And for people that don't know what a surrogate is, basically it is somebody who speaks in favor of a candidate. So like on Friday, I had Mark Green on for Matt Van Epps, and I had just obviously John Rich for Jody Barrett. Tomorrow, I'm going to have somebody else on for one of the other candidates, and I'm still working on that. And also, by the way, tomorrow, going to have the first ever appearance of one of the candidates here on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All righty. 6:53, Joan Jones has the news coming up at 7. Joan.
Well, the accused killer isn't cooperating, but police investigating Charlie Kirk's death are getting a lot of information from one particular source. Also, we'll tell you who's hosting an episode of The Charlie Kirk Show today. Those stories coming up here at 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
6:54 at Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Listen, it is the Busy Bee Best Prices of the Year event, and the savings are buzzing. Now, right now, with any heating repair service, you are going to get a free dryer vent cleaning. You can protect your home and feel safer on Busy Bee. If you need a new HVAC unit, check out these Stingers. Goodman 14.3 SEER 2-ton split heat pump for just $7,995. That comes with a 10-year parts warranty and a 2-year labor warranty as well. All kinds of great deals with Busy Bee. Celebrate National Grandparent Day all month long. Beehive Club members can gift a free Beehive membership to one set of grandparents. It is our way of honoring family. Plumbing deals, well, they've got you covered there as well. $500 off water and drain repipes and $300 off tanked to tankless water heaters and up to $1,500 off water filtration systems. So check them out online today. It's busybeehvac.com, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, busybeehvac.com. Dan Mandis here from my friends at Window Nation. Listen, I know it's not going to feel like it this week, but colder weather is coming. Fall is already here, but the colder weather isn't here yet, clearly. So it's going to be hot this week, but then we're going to see some cooler weather as we head into October. But listen, my friends at Window Nation, if you've got old drafty windows, maybe cheap builder grade windows, right now is the best time to replace your windows. Protect your home against the fall and winter weather with Window Nation, and they are here to help you. Now, I've got 4 windows from Window Nation in my home. That is why I proudly endorse Window Nation. Now, they've got a great deal for you right now because that's what they do. They like to save you money. You buy 2 windows, you're going to get 2 windows absolutely free. Make no payments for 2 years, and so you don't have to deal with monthly payments, a down payment, or interest until 2027. And don't forget, buy 2 windows, get 2 windows free. That's why I love Window Nation. They've got an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and yours truly. Call them, get a free estimate right now with the pros at Window Nation, 866-90-NATION, 866-90-NATION, windownation.com. 7 o'clock, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, coming up, I'm really looking forward to 8:05 when we have State Senator Brent Taylor. He is out of West Tennessee, specifically Memphis, and we're going to talk to him about President Trump, Governor Lee, the plan to bring the National Guard to Memphis. So we'll talk to him about that coming up at 8:05. Got a lot more straight ahead. By the way, if you thought that Don Lemon has suddenly become rational, man, do I have the audio to prove you wrong, and the incredible message from Erica Kirk. It is all straight ahead on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. He is not cooperating. ABC News reporting that Tyler Robinson, the 22-year-old man accused of murdering Charlie Kirk, has not confessed, nor is he helping investigators in that case. However, investigators are receiving some other useful information.
The New York Times reporting Robinson allegedly joking that his doppelganger did it with a group of friends on the messaging platform. According to the Times, one user reportedly suggesting the group should turn Robinson in to get the $100,000 reward from the FBI. Robinson allegedly responding, "Only if I get a cut."
That's ABC's Matt Gutman. Utah Governor Spencer Cox confirming that Robinson's lover, a transgender man named Lance Twiggs, has been helping investigators. Democrat leaders in the House and the Senate say they will not support GOP-backed legislation to keep the government running unless it includes an extension of the Affordable Care Act tax credits, which are set to expire at the end of this year. They also want the Medicaid cuts restored after passage of the Big Beautiful Bill. The government will officially run out of funding on September 30th. A Republican House member says he is not seeking another term.
The announcement on ABC's This Week from 11-term Republican Congressman Mike McCall of Texas came as a surprise.
It's been an honor to serve for over 2 decades in the Congress.
McCall will not try for a 12th term. His most recent margin of victory suggests, though, that it would be difficult for a Democrat to flip his seat.
That's ABC's Jim Ryan. A Nashville man says he killed his stepfather out of self-defense. 19-year-old Nathan Hensley telling police he came to the defense of his mother.
36-year-old Jose Rodas was attacking his mother Sunday at Southwood Park Place Apartments. Hensley says that he heard screaming coming from the bedroom. When he got in there, he saw Rodas choking his mother. Hensley then shot his stepfather.
WSMV4's Alexandria Adams. The stepfather has died. So far, no charges filed against Henley. And a man who's accused of shooting into a crowd of people attending a reunion Saturday night is behind bars. Tavarius Chambers allegedly showed up at the event at Old Fort Park Pavilion dressed in black, wearing a ski mask. 2 people were struck by his bullets, one in critical condition. Chambers was captured not long after the shooting. He's being held on $1 million bond. And Vice President J.D. Vance is hosting his first ever podcast. He's going to host Charlie Kirk's show today at noon, saying on social media, "Please join me as I pay tribute to my friend." Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Stock futures this morning on the plus side. We've got Dow futures up 80, NASDAQ futures gaining 33. The S&P futures are plus 13 points. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. There's an accident on Ashland City Highway eastbound. It's at Jenny Brown Lane East. It involves some injuries, and things are stop and go from Old Heights Ferry Pike up to that spot. Also in Smyrna, the westbound side of 24 before Sam Ridley Parkway, exit 66, there is an accident. Want to keep in mind, too, that out at the airport, there is a new diverging diamond. It's on Donaldson Pike at I-40, so it's going to cause some delays there as folks are trying to get used to it. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.707 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and welcome on in to Nashville's Morning News. All right, so I want to make sure that I get this audio in again of Erica Kirk. So I do have that coming up because when I played it in the 5 o'clock hour, of course, a massive reaction. So I'm going to play that again. But first, I want to preface it by some audio from Don Lemon. Now, we all know that old Don is out of a job, and I want to play this as an example of kind of what we're seeing in the media today. By the way, I don't know, you've probably been reporting this, Joan, I don't know, but I just saw on CNN that apparently the suspect has left a note now. So they have found a note, and they're poring over it, I guess, whatever. So we'll have to find out what exactly it is that he has to say for himself. We covered a lot of the, the suspect, his boyfriend, transgender, and all that other nonsense. There's all kinds of groups in Salt Lake City who are trans groups, if you will. And there's an investigation now into those groups as well as to who knew what, how his radicalization happened. He came from a conservative family, and a lot of people said, oh, look, he's a conservative. No. Actually, his views did not align at all.
His furry boyfriend also from a conservative family.
No kidding.
Yeah. So it's
his furry boyfriend is okay. So his boyfriend, who by the way is said to be cooperating with the investigation.
Right.
So apparently, boyfriend, transgender, and furry.
Yeah.
And we don't mean hairy. We mean like he's one of these people that likes to put on a cat costume.
Yes.
That kind of thing.
And people are still having the audacity to speculate that this is somehow foreign involvement. Some outside actor has contributed to this, which dishonors Charlie's legacy.
Yeah.
Because he was literally murdered for what he stood for.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if you want to, now you're going to go trust the FBI, conservatives, Utah's handling this prosecution. The FBI is not.
And we'll see again what the note has to say. But you're right, Sam. So this is Don Lemon. Just really quickly, I want you to listen, pay particular interest. And by the way, all of our audio today has video component. Watch us on YouTube. So Don Lemon is doing his, Don on the street thing. And he tries to get this woman to blast Charlie Kirk. And then he himself, just through the cadence and the things that he says, actually dishonors the memory of Charlie Kirk. Listen.
What do you think would happen to Charlie Kirk?
It's just messed up, totally messed up. That was messed up. Like, nobody deserved that. He definitely didn't deserve that. He was a good guy.
You think he was a good guy?
I think he was.
Wow. You think he was a good guy? Don Lemon said, you think he was a good guy? Yeah, Don. There's millions of Americans that believe that Charlie Kirk was a good guy. And so I don't know if Don is being racist, but he's a black man talking to a black woman. And so I don't know if he is trying to somehow shame this woman or that he is surprised because she is a black woman, that she has, decent things to say about Charlie Kirk.
It's just misogyny again.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I just love his surprise and how, if you listen close, he's trying to get this woman to say negative things about Charlie Kirk.
Only Kirk's good morals.
Captain Kirk.
Like I only know about him when all of us have flaws. I can't really tell you what to believe in or how to feel. Like everybody's having a human experience. Like why knock him for having this human experience or what he believe in?
Even though he says things that are anti-women, black,
Anti-women, anti-black. When did Charlie Kirk say anything anti-women or anti-black? I would invite anyone to send me a note or send me a video. Don Lemon, please, Don, tell us where Charlie Kirk was anti-woman and anti-black. He wasn't. But see, that's their own twisted ideology. This is the left. This is their own twisted ideology where just because a man is pro-family and pro-Christ, that somehow he is anti-woman, anti-black. I mean, it is so stunning to me, the ignorance of people like Don Lemon.
even though he says things that are anti-women, black, all that.
I can't judge him for that.
You can't.
I can't judge him for that. But I can use judgment. He didn't deserve that.
My judgment is Don Lemon's an idiot. That's my judgment.
This dude would have never had a career if producers weren't feeding him lines for most of it.
Yeah, probably right.
As a human being.
Yeah,
you are very spiritual.
You know, yeah.
No,
I can't go left. I can't go left with that.
No, you sound like, you mean left, going
yeah,
left,
like,
not left.
Because I'm
right.
humanity.
Yeah.
I'm humanity and left first.
No, I love that. So the first person I spoke to here didn't want to be on camera, and he said, I can't judge him because I'm not God. And so let him, let whatever the reaction is, if the government wants to give him a state-like funeral, if they let him do it because God is the only judge. And
yeah, like nobody really can judge him.
Yeah.
And like I kind of like seen him before all of this happened, but I don't see whatever everybody else was seeing. Right. So,
Yeah.
So Don Lemon, disappointed Don out on the streets of whatever street he was in, and people pointing out on the super text line, I guess, or the YouTube chat.
Yeah, YouTube chat.
His new logo looks like he stole it from Dollar General.
Dollar Don.
Dollar Don. Well, that's all he's worth, to be honest with you. And so whatever. I mean, that was how he chose to do his man on the street interview, trying to convince this woman that Charlie Kirk was anti-black and anti-woman, which is just clearly anti-intelligence. 7:15, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super text line is open, 615-737-9986. 615-737-WWTN. Okay, I do have the audio from Erica Kirk that is coming up next right here on WTN. Time to check the roads. As far as your weather goes for today, it is going to be hot. It's going to be, what are we talking about? High of 92, feeling like 95. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So just so you folks know, I have a bunch of audio from the left and all of the times that they have called Donald Trump a Nazi, got to put a bullet in Donald Trump, all of these things that prove that the Democrats are pro-violence. In my opinion, the Democrat Party is a death cult. I've talked about that many times. But Joan, Sam, a man only has a certain amount of time in morning drive to share audio. And today I am trying to share more positive than negative about what is out there today. So that's why instead of, maybe I'll be able to get to it later, but I do want to make sure that I play this audio from Erica Kirk, who gave an incredible, and I mean incredible speech over the weekend. I dare say inspiring.
Charlie always said that when he was gone, he wanted to be remembered for his courage and for his faith. And one of the final conversations that he had on this earth, my husband witnessed for his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Now and for all eternity, he will stand at his Savior's side, wearing the glorious crown of a martyr. Charlie loved life. He loved his life. He loved America. He loved nature, which helped him always bring him closer to God. He loved the Chicago Cubs. And my goodness, did he love the Oregon Ducks. Want me to say go Ducks, so I have to since they play on Saturday. So go Ducks.
By the way, the Ducks did win on Saturday, 34-14. I think it's also great that in NFL stadiums and college football stadiums all across the country, whether they were shown on television or not, there were all kinds of tributes to Charlie Kirk. And we talked about what happened at Yankee Stadium the day after he was murdered. And so I love that. And there were also all across not only our country, but the world, you had tributes to Charlie Kirk. We had, tributes here in Middle Tennessee. I know there was one, I believe, in Mount Juliet, where I live. There was one in Dixon. There was one in Franklin. Pretty much everywhere, I'm sure. There's probably one in Murfreesboro as well. And so I think that the Democrats, I think that they are thunderstruck. They don't know what to do with this outpouring of support for Charlie Kirk. And so for Erica Kirk, she went on to talk about how much he loved his family, how much his family loved him. It really was an inspiring speech, one, again, that I watched, and it was hard to keep a dry eye with this speech. She also spoke about how much she appreciated the support of President Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, and those that followed Charlie Kirk and listened to him.
Charlie always believed that God's design for marriage and the family was absolutely amazing, and it is. It is, and it was the greatest joy of his life. And over, he would tell all these young people to come and find their future spouse, become wives and husbands and parents. And the reason why is because he wanted you all to experience what he had and still has. He wanted everyone to bring heaven into this earth through love and joy that comes from raising a family. It's beautiful. Charlie always said that if he ever ran for office, I know a lot of you asked if he ever was going to, but privately he told me if he ever did run for office that his top priority would be to revive the American family.
I love that. I don't know if there's been a candidate that has come out and had that as a platform, but I think it is a great one. And that's why when you have some people out there within the Republican Party saying, let's give a bigger tax cut for, kids or for families, let's do whatever we can to promote the American family. I think that is outstanding. And I think, and I've talked about this for a long time, about how the disintegration of the American family is something that really has led to the disintegration of some segments of our society. And it is incredibly sad. And so one of the things that I watched over the weekend were all the stories about how many Americans responded to her speech. Her speech, as you can hear, it was about greatness. It was about compassion, communication, love, and hope. And I'm going to give you one example. She had a clothing line. We talked about this in the 5. She's got a clothing line, and it is called Proclaim. And I'm going to tell you that if you go to their website, you will see that almost every single item is now sold out. Incredible.
The evildoers responsible for my husband's assassination have no idea what they have done.
It's true.
They killed Charlie because he preached a message of patriotism, faith, and of God's merciful love. But they should all know this. If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea. You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country.
True.
And this world. You have no idea. You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife. The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry. To everyone listening tonight across America, the movement my husband built will not die. It won't. I refuse to let that happen. It will not die. All of us will refuse to let that happen. No one will ever forget my husband's name, and I will make sure of it.
We are playing selected audio and video from Erica Kirk's speech on over the weekend, Friday night. And I got to tell you, she's right. I mean, you called it earlier, Joan. You'd said that this was the cry heard around the world.
The battle cry.
The battle cry heard around the world.
That statement. Absolutely.
So she said a lot of great things. And I've got one more soundbite that I'm going to play coming up. It is 7:22 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. By the way, she was right, because over the weekend I was talking to John Rich about this just a few moments ago. The surge of chapter inquiries has continued for Turning Point USA. They said on Sunday they have seen more than 32,000 inquiries from people wanting to start new chapters. Now, right now, they have 900 official college chapters and around 1,200 in high school. That's about 3,500 total. They just got 32,000 inquiries. How inspirational is that? How incredible is that? How amazing is that? Now, to start a chapter, she gave the tpusa.com website, TPUSA, as in Turning Point USA. So if you're one of those, I know that Chris Hand has been talking about this as well. That is how you can start a chapter. 7:23 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan has the news coming up at 7:30. Morning, Joan. What's coming up?
Coming up here, Dan, we've got a surprise. It is a surprise announcement this morning from FBI Director Kash Patel about the Charlie Kirk murder investigation. Details coming up at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thanks, Joan. At 7:23, I want to tell you about my friends at DT McCall's, a great Tennessee company that is here for their fellow Tennesseans with great prices, selection, and value. Now, I've been telling you about DT McCall's for years. They've been helping people out for 3 generations. And if you need it, they've got it at DT McCall's. Outdoor furniture, if you've got a room to fill, go to DT McCall's to fill it. Appliances, if it plugs in, they've got it. And at DT McCall's, they've always got specials going on to save you money. Specials and great prices right there on the front page of their website. Furniture and appliances, all the best brands like washer and dryer sets, and again, indoor furniture, and a whole lot more. Now, DT McCall's, they've been doing this for over 100 years with a focus on great prices and, yes, customer service as well. So if you buy it online or in store, they are going to deliver it for free and haul away the old stuff. 5 locations across Middle Tennessee, Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin, always online. DTMcCalls.com. Dan Mendes here, 7:25 on Nashville's Morning News. Vision for Life is celebrating 20 years of 2020. Since 2005, Dr. Jeff Horn has provided thousands of patients 20/20 or better vision. Now, Dr. Horn's expertise and dedication have made him a leader in cataract, LASIK, and other vision correction surgeries. Dr. Horn's commitment to providing the best possible patient experience, in addition to the most advanced technologies in vision correction, has made Vision for Life one of the premier vision correction surgeries in the world. Just ask me. This is where I went. I was wearing glasses. I wore glasses since I was a sophomore in high school. And right now, I am celebrating my first year glasses free, thanks to my friends at Vision for Life and Dr. Jeff Horn. Now, you can help them celebrate 20 years of providing 20/20 vision by scheduling your consultation today. That phone number is 615-436-2020, 615-436-2020. Find them online anytime, visionforlife.com. $7:29, it's Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, coming up at 8:05, I cannot wait. State Senator Brent Taylor, he covers, his district includes Memphis, and we're going to talk to him about President Trump, Governor Lee, sending in National Guard. We're going to talk about that with him coming up at 8:05 here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Also coming up, one final soundbite from Erica Kirk and her incredible speech over the weekend on Friday night. By the way, if you want to hear, I'm only able to play select cuts, but if you want to hear or see the entire speech by Charlie Kirk's wife, then you can find that on my X feed at Dan Mandis Show. Got a lot more straight ahead. It's WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones, 7:30 here with your top stories. An important development in the Charlie Kirk murder investigation. We know that investigators found a screwdriver and a firearm wrapped in a towel near the scene of the shooting in Utah. Well, now FBI Director Kash Patel had this announcement on Fox News moments ago.
And I can report today that the DNA hits from the towel that was wrapped around the firearm and the DNA on the screwdriver are positively processed for the suspect in custody.
Also, they're getting help from the suspect's boyfriend.
Investigators also confirming they've now interviewed Robinson's roommate, with whom they say he was romantically involved. Officials say Robinson had no military experience, but was proficient with a firearm. Multiple social media posts by his family show him posing with guns.
That's ABC's Megan Norwood. A motorcycle driver has died after crashing into the back of a car yesterday afternoon along Gallatin Pike South. Police say that a car slowed down to make a right turn, but the 36-year-old driver of the motorcycle, C.W. Smith, slammed into the back of the car and was thrown from the bike. Metro Nashville police saying there were no signs of impairment. And the victim of a hit and run in Nashville has died on Thursday. 28-year-old Nicholas Leonhardt of Charlotte, North Carolina, hit by an SUV while crossing 4th Avenue South in the early morning hours. He was taken to a hospital but died Saturday morning. WSMB4's Alexandria Adams.
Police are telling us that 41-year-old George Hennon called Nashville police officers hours later. He then admitted to his involvement in this accident. We know that he was arrested shortly after.
Hennon was charged with leaving the scene of a crash and a host of other charges. Metro police are expected to amend the charges now after the death of the pedestrian. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. At 7:32, Center Gen X and Low T Center have been changing the lives of men across the country for over a decade. Now, it's not just talk. They've really helped guys get better. Do better at work, love, and yes, the gym as well. I'm telling you guys, if you've been thinking about testosterone or if you have noticed that you're getting older, more tired, not motivated to do anything, it's not just aging. It's a physical and mental change to your body. And yes, testosterone can actually help. Now, Synergen X and Low T Center, they've got clinics conveniently located around town. You have the power to choose if you want to be treated in the clinic or if you want to receive at-home treatment. Either way, it all starts with a quick test at the center. So what are you waiting for? Guys, just imagine how much better you'll feel when you take back your health with Low T Center. Restore your energy and get on with the rest of your life. Book your appointment today at mylowtcenter.com. That's mylowtcenter.com. You'll be wishing you did a lot sooner.
It is an accident this morning in John Toon at Ashland City Highway eastbound side at Jenny Brown Lane East. It involves injuries and it's stop and go from Old Hides Ferry Pike. Also this morning on 24, the eastbound side, just past Whites Creek Pike, there's an accident. This is Joelton, exit 35. Got a crash as well on 40 westbound side in Southside. It's at the off-ramp to Hermitage Avenue, exit 212. Old Hickory Boulevard in Brentwood. It's slow around a crash at Brentwood Boulevard. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.36 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. By the way, Joan, guess who I'm going to talk to tomorrow?
Who?
Bill O'Reilly.
What?
Yeah. Now, he's an old friend of the show.
Okay.
I know him as Bill, and he knows me as
that
some
guy.
nobody out in Tennessee. But
Yeah.
he's got a new book out, and it's a great book. So we're going to talk to Bill O'Reilly about that tomorrow morning. So really looking forward to that. It's going to be at 8:35. So but I'm going to ask him about the Charlie Kirk assassination and all of that. But
I hope so.
Always love talking to Bill O'Reilly. He got mad at me one time. This was before your time, but he got mad at me because I said in an interview that he was a conservative, and he got mad at me about that.
So, what does he consider himself?
You know what? I think he took umbrage to the fact that I called him a conservative, and it was a fair point. You know, this was before the days of being well-danned, but he didn't consider himself a conservative. He considered himself an issue-by-issue kind of guy. And he talked about the times that he disagreed with Donald Trump as well. And whatever. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm just appreciative that he comes on and he talks about, his latest books. And he's got a new one coming out. And I have not read it yet. I had another week because I pride myself on actually reading the books.
Yeah.
But I just heard from them, and they moved it up a week. So now I've got to cram the book. But that's going to be tomorrow at 8:35 here at Nashville's Morning News. It's the only time that I could get, so it's going to interfere with the crisscross handoff. But yeah. But anyway, so looking forward to talking to Bill O'Reilly tomorrow at 8:35 on Super Talk 99.7. I want to play one more audio bite from Erica Kirk. And to me, this was as a guy with, a couple of kids, and as a guy who now has a 1-year-old grandson, boy, Joan, I saw him over the weekend, and he is running all over the place. Oh, my goodness gracious. So this particular soundbite from Erica Kirk was particularly poignant and particularly heartbreaking. Listen.
But most important of all, if you aren't a member of a church, I beg you to join one. A Bible-believing church. Our battle is not simply a political one. Above all, it is spiritual. It is spiritual. The spiritual warfare is palpable. When I got home last night, Gigi, our daughter, just ran into my arms. And I talked to her and she said, "Mommy, I missed you." I said, "I missed you too, baby." She goes, "Where's Daddy?" What do you tell a 3-year-old? She's 3. I said, "Baby, Daddy loves you so much. Don't you worry. He's on a work trip with Jesus, so he can afford your blueberry budget."
Whoo, boy. I mean, I was talking about this in the 5 o'clock hour. Amy and I were watching this.
Blubbering like I was.
Oh, man.
Oh.
It was rough.
Yeah.
It was rough. But we asked the Daily Dan poll. Have you seen more people going to church last weekend? Because, we're talking about how there are so many people that are reconnecting. We're talking to John Rich earlier about this, about how people are reconnecting with their faith, or they're connecting for the first time. And so that was our Daily Dan poll. What are people saying on YouTube?
So we are still sitting at that 72% yes, they have seen more people in church over the weekend, 28% no.
By the way, America Fest will go on, including a stop at Utah State on September 30th and in Phoenix in December. So I wonder, like, boy, how do you say this? So does that mean who's going to talk to the college students the way that Charlie was? You can't, I'm trying to figure out the right way to say this. You cannot replace Charlie Kirk. Obviously, you cannot replace Charlie Kirk. But who is going to take that role of challenging these college kids? I know that Ben Shapiro is, one of those people that is able to do, but he's like Daily Wire. So they're figuring all that out now. What I really liked is that Erica says that Turning Point, not only will they continue, but they are coming back stronger than ever.
Yeah, someone's got to step up and pinch hit the best they can to fill shoes like that. It's going to be difficult, but I think we're going to see in the long run the flourishing of it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, in the years to come, absolutely. By the way, I guess it's going to be his official funeral is going to be September 21st at State Farm Stadium in Phoenix, Arizona. This is where they play professional football. So the facility, the stadium, holds 63,400 people. By the way, I don't want to politicize, his death, but, I mean, this headline did scream at me. Headline, this is from the Sacramento Bee. Democratic voter registration suffers major blow. Now, this is just the Democrats overall. This has nothing to do with Charlie Kirk. But an NBC News analysis has now revealed, this came out over the weekend, that Democratic voter registration dropped by 1.3 percentage points from 2024 to 2025, now standing at 37%. Now, this jives with other things that we've seen, where the Democrats, they're just circling the drain. There's no other way to say this. And this was before Charlie Kirk's murder. This is before it. And I can almost guarantee you that we are going to see a massive surge in conservatism. Somebody sent me a note from TikTok, and I'm posting stuff on TikTok now and all the socials. And somebody sent me a note on TikTok, and he said that he has noticed several TikTok, anti-Trumpers who have suddenly changed their tune. And we talked about this on Friday, where you have some of these folks who are looking at the behavior of the people on the left as this celebration of Charlie Kirk's demise, his murder, continues. And it is so incredibly off-putting. And just so you folks know, I know. There's there's like tens of thousands of people that are online. I could spend my entire 4-hour program talking about the bad guys online and what they're saying. But you know what? I have a choice between playing the great audio of Erica Kirk and conservatives and what is going on with that movement. And I choose to highlight that as opposed to, the morons. And God is going to sort out the morons. I truly believe that. God is going to sort them out. One of the things that I said on social media this morning is just, broad brush. A lot of these people are ugly. And I'm just going to say it, ugly. They're ugly inside and out.
I think it's because the demonic nature of their ideology has convinced them to do things that detract from the beauty that God gave them.
Absolutely.
Both internally and externally, with those ugly haircuts, the nose rings, the dye in your hair, the weird color.
All of it. Absolutely all of it. And so now what's happening, and we spoke about this earlier, where you have our friend Robbie Starbuck and others, libs of TikTok ladies as well, and they are exposing all of those people. And they're saying, basically, meet this person, they work at this place, and this is the email address, and this is what that person said. And I played a piece of audio earlier where somebody is saying, oh, isn't this going too far? And it's like, no, it's not going too far. Number one, the left, they're the first ones to go after conservative with conservatives with cancel culture. That's number one. Number two isn't that what these people want? Isn't this what the people want when they post these things about celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder? They want attention, do they not? So all Robbie Starbuck and others are doing is, as they hunt the, I said earlier today, off the air, they're basically hunting the a-holes. That's what they're doing.
The lunatics.
Hunting the lunatics. I think what I said, I'm only going to say it once, but I think there's more of a ring to it. But anyway, hunting the lunatics, that's fine. And if they want attention, all Robbie's doing, and the libs of TikTok folks, is they are giving them the attention that they so readily crave. Speaking of attention-craving morons, did you hear what Justin Pearson said? Oh, that audio straight ahead. 7:45, time to check the roads on WTN. .47, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk. As far as your weather for today, hot with a lot of sun, a high of 92. Feels like 95. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. Super Text line, very active today. Thank you very much. That Super Text line is 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. So Justin Pearson was on MSNBC with the equally as reprehensible Nicole Wallace. The only good thing about Nicole Wallace is her hair. That's the only good thing about Nicole Wallace. Anyway, she had Justin Pearson on, and this is part of what transpired.
Pearson, your reaction?
Donald Trump sending the National Guard, Bill Lee sending in additional law enforcement into the city of Memphis.
Yeah, I mean, look, we do not want to see our community being occupied by the military, and we don't want to see over-policing. The solution to the problems that...
Can I ask a question? Does he appreciate over-murdering? Because that's what's happening in Memphis, right? Yeah. So his big concern is over-policing. My big concern is over-murdering, because that's what's happening. Now, coming up, we do have, at 8:05, State Senator Brent Taylor, and he is the state senator that his district is over the Shelby County, city of Memphis.
Being articulated is not to increase the number of police, it's to increase the number of resources to actually reduce poverty, to actually educate our population, our children, for the opportunities of the future.
Poverty and all that.
Have a living wage so that some of the crimes literally for the need to survive do not happen. We know that gun violence is one of the most significant issues and epidemics in our country.
Do you know what's so funny? I think somebody else said this too. But, whenever I go to the Glock store, they've got like hundreds of guns. Not one of them by itself loads itself and shoots itself. Not one of them. You ever notice that? Sam, you're a big shooter. You ever see Joan, you've shot too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever seen a gun just magically jump off the shelf and load itself and shoot itself?
Never.
I have never in my life seen that. Have you?
No.
No one? Okay.
No. I saw a thing this weekend. A guy, was something posted online. Guy said he took a shotgun and he put it on the deck along with his ammunition, just left it there, and all day long, the mailman came and
neighbor kids came along.
Right, and there was an Amazon driver, and at the end of the day, wow, nobody was killed. The
gun didn't just load itself. He left a couple of shotgun shells right next to it.
Yeah.
And it didn't load itself and shoot itself.
He said he was going to go check his spoons next to see if they were making people fat.
Oh, my goodness.
Here's more from Justin Pearson.
I got expelled because of it. Right? Children under 18 are most likely to die from a bullet than cancer or car accidents. That means laws have to change at the state level. That Governor Bill Lee, Speaker Sexton, Lieutenant Governor Rand McNally need to work on to reduce the amount of access people have to firearms, and that reduces ultimately the amount of crimes that get committed. But you can't pass laws that say, hey, it's okay for you to have guns in your car, and then you complain about people breaking into cars for the firearms that they find there. We have to deal with the systemic root causes of the problems, and Black communities should not be the place and the pawns for an authoritarian, wannabe dictator, white supremacist game.
You know what we need? Do you remember how Brian Wilson used to have the ding? Like he'd have the ding? We should have a ding for every time people like Justin Pearson, Justin Jones, Gloria, whatever heck her name was, we should have a ding for every time they go through their talking points. You know what I mean? Where he's talking about, Donald Trump, authoritarian, and all the other talking points, where it is just, honest to goodness, obviously it gets very old. And they're not willing to look at what is actually causing those crimes. You know what was interesting, too? In Washington, D.C., did you notice that no guns, as the National Guard is there, no guns just magically come out onto their porch and start shooting themselves? And all of the guns that the National Guard had or the law enforcement had there, they didn't magically start shooting themselves either. That's what we need. Here, let me. I'm going to rewind this. Let's just see how this sounds. So he's going to give a whole bunch of talking point platitudes. Sam, every time he does one, I need you to ding the bell for this dingbat, Justin Pearson.
That reduces ultimately the amount of crimes that get committed. But you can't pass laws that say, hey, it's okay for you to have guns in your car, and then you complain about people breaking into cars for the firearms that they find there. We have to deal with the systemic root causes of the problems, and Black communities should not be the place and the pawns for an authoritarian, wannabe dictator, white supremacist game. And that's what we're finding right now with Donald Trump and Bill Lee. And so our resistance has to be vocal, it has to be clear, it has to be coordinated, and it has to show people that we are serious about defending our democracy. These are not benign acts.
Now, my question is, so when he says that, like he's talking about the resistance, what does he mean by that? Is he calling for violence?
Yes.
Is that what he's doing?
He just called authoritarian fascist dictators to our governor and our president.
So if you are somebody who's deranged or has a death wish, then you are, or has a jail wish, well, then what you're doing, if you're Justin Pearson, it sounds to me like it's a call to arms. That's what it sounds like to me. I'm going to play that for Brent Taylor, the state senator out that way, and see what he has to think about that. But let me play the rest of this.
They are all intentional in an effort to let us be lulled to sleep as our country moves from a democracy into an authoritarian dictatorship. This man cares only about his power, keeping it at all costs, and running through any community and hurting all the people as he does it.
So can somebody tell me what has happened in Washington, D.C.? Fewer Black people have been killed. I know the Murphy Show is trying to get this guy on, Justin Pearson. Now, Joan, Sam, I don't know what his favorite charity is, but we ought to, what we ought to do? We ought to GoFundMe a thing for his favorite charity and raise money so that he'll come on the Murphy Show.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Although best way to put this, I shudder to think what charities he supports.
Oh, yeah.
And where the money actually ends up.
And where the money would actually end up. You know what? Maybe what we do is we say, all right, you know what? We'll give X number of dollars to the Nashville Rescue Mission or the charity of your choice. But we give it to see if he would come on the Murphy Show. But you know what the thing is? All he is able to do, all Justin Pearson is able to do is talk about platitudes and talking points, as indicated by the bell. That bell right there. We must have hit the bell, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times in just a 60, 75-second period.
Mm-hmm.
So I would dare Justin Pearson to come on WTN. He won't.
In D.C., they brought the National Guard, but you know also who came? ICE. We are going to see this repeating over and over again, the terrorism of our communities. And
wow, can you imagine the terrorism? I don't know when this was. I think it was over the weekend. But can you imagine this jackhole talking about terrorism, invoking terrorism a couple of days after 9/11?
And the
assassination of Charlie Kirk.
It's just it's mind-boggling, and it's because I don't think he's ever had to actually debate anybody with his ideas. No. He just loves to use those emotional trigger words to get people riled up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Emotion. Well, and here's the deal: people are dumb enough to fall for those emotional trigger words. Anyway, so I'm going to play that audio for State Senator Brent Taylor coming up at about 8:06 on Nashville's Morning News and get his comment on that right now, 7:55. Joan is in the newsroom. Joan was coming up at 8.
Yeah, we'll tell you what is in the note that Charlie Kirk shooter allegedly wrote before the assassination. That coming up here at 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, it's funny. I'm sorry. I'm reading the super text line. Guys like, yeah, he probably supports Black Lives Matter. That's why I immediately, Joan, that's why I immediately caught myself. I'm not going to give it to his charity. Lord knows what he supports.
Yeah, that would be a difficult ask.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we could find a kids charity and then we could say to him if we could, do it for the children.
Oh.
Right?
They love to say that.
They love to say that. Listen, Justin, it's for the children. We'll all crowdsource some money to get you onto the Matt Murphy show, and we'll give it to children's charities. And if we could only save one life of a child.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, got to go. Contours. Listen, they are still offering you that great special, the Belly Buster special going on right now from Contours. The first 10 callers right now at 615-236-9960, 615-236-9960, you get that Belly Buster special for just $99. That is huge. Taking advantage of Contour's red light and cutting edge technology. The red light technology, it is cutting edge. It is unique. It is also effective as well. Now, people have been coming from all across Middle Tennessee to check them out. You can go to their website and see how their Belly Buster therapy featuring red light technology actually works. That website is contoursllc.com. And remember, be one of the first 10 callers right now. You get that Belly Buster special for just $99. 615-236-9960. Contours, all you've got to lose is inches.
Good morning. It's 8 o'clock now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. There was a note. FBI Director Kash Patel announcing this morning that Charlie Kirk murder suspect Tyler Robinson wrote a note talking about what he was about to do.
We have evidence to show what was in that note, which is, and I'm going to summarize, basically saying, the suspect wrote a note saying, I have the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. That note was written before the shooting. Evidence of its existence, we now have learned, existed before the shooting, was in the location in the suspect and partner's home. But we have since learned that the note, even though it has been destroyed, we have found forensic evidence of the note, and we have confirmed what that note says because of our aggressive interview posture at the FBI.
On Fox News this morning, Patel also saying that they have a DNA match from a screwdriver and a towel wrapped around the weapon found near the university after the shooting. The DNA matches Tyler Robinson. The Trump administration planning to authorize National Guard troops to enter Tennessee's second largest city. This follows similar activity in L.A., Washington, D.C., and Boston.
The officials in Memphis asking a lot of questions. For example, when is this deployment supposed to happen? When will it happen, if it happens at all? When will the troops arrive? Where will the troops come from? What will they be doing on the ground in terms of crime fighting? Will they be wearing military uniforms? How will they interact with the community and the police force that's already there? So a lot of questions still left to be answered.
ABC's Faith Abube. Now, Memphis tops the list for having the highest crime rate in the nation, despite recent reports that crime is on the decline. U.S. News lists Memphis as the most dangerous city in the nation. The widow of deceased billionaire philanthropist Foster Friess says her husband loved Charlie Kirk and believed in Charlie's vision. And she just donated $1 million to Turning Point USA in his memory. Lynn Friess says her husband would have been grateful to see how Charlie's legacy is inspiring young Americans to stand up for faith and for freedom. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Big announcement from Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent moments ago.
We have a framework for a TikTok deal. The two leaders, President Trump and Party Chair Xi, will speak on Friday to complete the deal, but we do have a framework for a deal with TikTok.
And that's providing some hope for the trade talks between the U.S. and China to be successful. Stock futures are all on the rise because of it this morning. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 8:04. Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Loan Pronto. Are you trapped in a high-rate mortgage watching your hard-earned money vanish every single month? Well, stop, because right now, Loan Pronto can help you. They're delivering the lowest mortgage rates in 3 years. Now, Loan Pronto's rate reduction home loan program is a streamlined, low-cost way to slash your house payments by hundreds of dollars every single month. They can lock in a fixed rate as low as 4.99% APR. That's right, 4.99% APR, and close in as little as 2 weeks. No appraisal is needed in most cases. And here's the kicker. You can skip your next two house payments entirely. Don't wait. Rates this low won't last long. Call Loan Pronto right now for your free, no-obligation quote. Loan Pronto is amazing. Lower payments, more money in your pocket, and a fresh start with a better mortgage. Call them, 615-499-5780. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. 615-499-5780. Find them online anytime. It is loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
We got an accident in John Tune at Ashland City Highway eastbound at Jenny Brown Lane. Stop and go from Old Hickory Boulevard this morning. Also on 40 westbound at the off-ramp to Hermitage Avenue, exit 212. That's a crash. The off-ramp right shoulder is blocked off by it, and there are police on the scene now. 24 eastbound in Joelton past Whites Creek Pike. Watch for a crash that takes out the left shoulder. And you want to just be advised that there's a new diverging diamond at the airport this morning. And they're also doing milling and paving work out there. So 40 in the area of the airport. That's going to be slow this morning as well. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.808 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on in, and want to welcome on into the program State Senator Brent Taylor out of his district, does cover Memphis, and I appreciate you being on, sir. And I want to obviously talk about Governor Lee sending in additional law enforcement into Memphis, and also, of course, Donald Trump talking about this on Friday. But I want to play you some audio from Justin Pearson. I know that that's a person that you know well, sir. But this is what Justin Pearson said on MSNBC over the weekend about the possibility of additional law enforcement going into Memphis. Need some audio?
Problems. And black communities should not be the place and the pawns for an authoritarian, wannabe dictator, white supremacist gain. And that's what we're finding right now with Donald Trump and Bill Lee. And so our resistance has to be vocal, it has to be clear, it has to be coordinated, and it has to show people that we are serious about defending our democracy. These are not benign acts. They are all intentional in an effort to let us be lulled to sleep as our country moves from a democracy into an authoritarian dictatorship. This man cares only about his power, keeping it at all costs, and running through any community and hurting all the people as he does it.
So a lot of platitudes there, Senator, but I guess the question is, what do you think he's saying there? Because it almost sounds like he is, calling for a call to arms.
Well, thank you, Dan, for having me. And as it relates to Senator Pearson, look, everyone knows that he has the credibility of my mother's Facebook page. And the things that come out of his mouth make him nuttier than a porta potty at a peanut festival. And success is trying to chase him, but he keeps outrunning it, just like our mayors down here. And people down here in Memphis are absolutely fed up with the crime. It's like living in a Mad Max movie down here, except the cars and the music not quite as good. And so I welcome the help from the president. And look, Governor Lee sent an increase of state troopers down here 2 years ago, and it has made an impact. Senator Blackburn, she worked with Kash Patel and got Operation Viper down here, and they're going to be announcing some arrests and indictments later this week. So those efforts have brought crime down a little bit, and the National Guard will be the exclamation point on that effort.
So, of course, we're going to hear the left constantly say, well, crime is going down in Memphis, right? I mean, we know that is what they do. But you yourself said that it's like living in a war zone there in West Tennessee. And I guess, from your perspective, how bad is it? Is it getting better, even though there's still, the highest murder rate, I believe, in the country and so forth? Like, is it getting better at all?
Well, the statistics say they are, and the police department and everybody likes to say that it's down. But again, if there's been a downtick in crime, it's been because of the efforts of Governor Lee sending the THP. It's been because of Operation Viper that Senator Blackburn and Cash Patel sent to Memphis. And look, even if it is down a little bit, drowning in 10 feet of water feels just like drowning in 7 feet of water. And we have to get this crime level in Memphis down to a manageable level. If Tennessee is going to be successful and reaches its full potential, Memphis has to do that as well. And Tennessee won't reach its full potential as long as Memphis is sliding into chaos and crime down here in Shelby County.
Knowing Memphis the way that you do, and by the way, State Senator Brent Taylor is joining us. For some reason, I keep wanting to call you Paul Taylor, which is, I believe, the bass player for Duran Duran. I have no idea why that's on my mind, sir, but Brent Taylor is joining us. So the people of Memphis, because who was it? John Rose said that the same 600 people are committing the vast majority of the crime in Memphis. Is that the way that you see it?
That's probably true. The problem is we've got a Soros-funded DA down here that won't prosecute anybody. And when he does try to prosecute somebody, he gets high-profile acquittals, like with the mastermind of young Dolph's murder down here in Memphis, or the police officers that were responsible for Tyree Nichols' death. Yeah. So he tries to prosecute, and then he fails, and then he turns them loose. And when the police will arrest somebody, he will turn around and let them go with a warm cup of cocoa, a hug, and a promise to go to Sunday school Sunday.
All right. So then the other question is this. What happens when the National Guard leaves? What happens when the additional law enforcement leaves? Do you see, because this is a multi-pronged problem. You just said that the other big problem is the fact that we've got Soros-funded DAs who refuse to, press charges against these guys.
That's true. I think two things. One is Speaker Sexton is correct when he called for a strike force to come down to Memphis, a state strike force or even local, to recreate our gang unit and to go after these gangs. That's where most of the criminal activity is coming from, is from all the gangs that we have in Memphis. So, I support Speaker Sexton's effort with that. And hopefully the police department will build up and stand up a gang unit while the National Guard is here in Memphis. The other thing is we need to get the White House to weigh in on the Soros-funded DA we have here in Shelby County. The White House has already said that they want the Justice Department to look into George Soros for RICO charges. And I would remind the White House that all this effort and money and treasure that's being spent in Memphis with the National Guard and the strike force and Operation Viper to come into Memphis to lower the crime rate, it'll all be for naught if we don't have a DA that will prosecute. So I would encourage the White House to weigh into this, just like initially there was pushback with the mayor and others about sending the National Guard down here. They changed their mind. Hopefully we could get the president to weigh in on this effort to do something about our DA in Shelby County.
I think the frustrating part, and I know it's frustrating for you, is, this guy, I don't remember his name, and I apologize. Obviously, you know his name. But these guys voted into office, and the people that are in Memphis, they're being terrorized by all of these gangs, yet these folks are voted in.
Well, if he had to run again, which, I would like to see him removed. He'd be eligible to run again. But I'm telling you, he would not be able to be reelected because the black community is absolutely fed up with the crime that's going on in their community. Most of the crime is occurring in the African-American community, and that was the base of his support when he ran. And look, Steve Mulroy down here in Memphis, he would not get reelected if he had to run again. The problem is, in 2022, he got an 8-year term, and he won't be up on the ballot again until 2030.
All right, so
we don't have until 2030.
State Senator Brent Taylor, I've got to ask the question. So is there a way to recall a district attorney? I don't know this. Is there a way to recall a district attorney in this state?
The General Assembly has the authority to remove district attorney for cause. And so the General Assembly could remove him next session if they wanted to. And there are actually 2 resolutions. One is filed in the House, one is filed in the Senate to do just that.
Okay, now here's my question.
Session, and so hopefully the president would weigh in on this. I think we could get some traction.
So here's my question, though. Like, we know that the state legislature, as you well know, were able to drum out Justin Pierce and Justin Jones, but they ended up coming right back in. If the state legislature were able to take action and boot Steve Mulroy, the DA out there in Memphis, for not charging these criminals that come through the court system there, okay, well then, number one, does that mean that there would be a new election? Do they place someone there for, to hold the seat? How would that work? And would there be a possibility, just like we saw with the 2 Justins, that he would end up coming right back in?
Well, a couple of things. One, the governor would make an appointment to fill in the interim.
Okay.
And whoever that interim DA would be would have to run again at the next statewide election. And so they would be there from 1 to 2 years. But again, I don't think, and our DA would be able to run again, but I don't think he could get elected. Look, the difference between Justin Jones and Justin Pearson and our DA is that Jones and Pearson were removed for violating rules of decorum on the House floor.
Yep.
Those are details that the average public, they don't necessarily understand. The public down here fully understands that our Soros-funded DA either won't prosecute, or when he tries to, he fails in spectacular fashion. And I don't believe he would be reelected. I've even offered up that if he would resign, I would resign from the Senate. We both can run again. We'll see who get reelected.
Wow, I love that. I had a feeling you'd probably win, sir. I mean, you speak common sense. The community knows that it is overrun with crime. My opinion, they probably know that Justin Pearson is not actually looking out for them, and neither is the district attorney, Steve Mulroy. So I guess...
They're not. Yeah, the only thing I would remind, Dan, you and the listeners and the good people of Memphis and Shelby County, that when all hope is lost, remember one thing. Remember the lobsters that were in the restaurant tank on the Titanic. They had no hope, but ultimately it worked out for them.
And we're going to leave it there. State Senator Brent Taylor out there, you cover Memphis. Thank you very much for joining us here on Nashville's Morning News. And will you come back?
Absolutely. I enjoy it. Thanks, Dan.
All right. Have a good one. All right. So can I just say that I think he's been conversing with Tim Burchett, Congressman Tim Burchett, right?
It sounds like some dadgummitisms.
Yeah. I mean, he had 5 or 6 really funny lines, and I'm trying to write them down because they were really good.
I mean, nuttier than a porta potty at a peanut festival. Iconic.
I mean, I've interviewed him, I think, a couple of times before. I don't remember him being so funny.
It's like the John Kennedy method of speaking to people.
Yes, it's like Senator Kennedy.
Yes.
That's exactly right. I want to ask him back just for more jokes.
Which to the Kennedy point, I do wake up on a regular basis asking Jesus to give me the strength, and I get to work, and I want to slap some people, but they're not the ones I work with,
Clearly.
Unlike Kennedy.
Unlike Kennedy.
All right, it is, we didn't do traffic. Is anything going on, real quick? Joan, is there anything going on in traffic?
You know what, there is a couple things. Ashland City Highway eastbound in John Toon at Jenny Brown Lane. There's an accident. Watch yourself out at the airport on 40. They've got new traffic patterns out there and some milling and paving going on, so it'll be a mess today. That's it.
All right, very good. By the way, I'm being well danned by the audience.
Nice.
So I kept calling him Paul Taylor, who I said was the bass player for Duran Duran.
No.
Apparently the bass player for Duran Duran is...
I don't know that.
George
I just know
Smith, probably.
John Taylor. I think it's John Taylor.
Oh, see, Paul Taylor's a choreographer and ballet dancer. So that's why I was wondering why Paul Taylor was on your mind.
That definitely not that Paul Taylor. Not on my mind. Anyway, so whatever. But it'd be a great interview. I love that guy. He's great. And I think the third or fourth time that I've interviewed him over the years, and always appreciated his candor and his common sense. By the way, people are saying, and it's a fair point, so you want to overthrow the election? Now, we got some, I could tell, 2805 out there has been absolutely triggered. Whatever, 2805, knock yourself out. Others triggered as well. But I guess that's a legit question, right? So you want to overthrow the will of the people there in Memphis. Listen, if the dude's not doing his job and it's an 8-year term, then I think there's something amiss. There's clearly something amiss. You know what the problem is, though? And I didn't hit him with this, but here's the problem, is the good people of Memphis, they're just going to vote in another Steve Mulroy. You know what I mean? I mean, they voted him in. How long has Memphis had these problems? I mean, Memphis has had these problems for years. Yep. I mean, probably decades. I don't know. But, I mean, it's been a long time.
When we brought up the shortage of police officers a couple of weeks ago, they haven't had Republican government as far as the mayor and the majority of the city council since the 60s.
Yeah. So, yeah, remember what I always say about Democrats. It's like they like these problems to perpetuate so that they can say that we're going to fix the problem, which they never do. And then they'll just blame Republicans. That's what the Democrats do. So, I mean, to the people that are saying you want to overthrow the DA's election in Memphis, you know what? Yeah, I do.
Well, and
yeah, I do.
To those people, you should look up Tennessee Code 847-101. That's how people get ousted from these positions. Knowing or willful misconduct in office, knowing or willful neglect of duties required by law, other criminal acts. The terms malfeasance and neglect of duty also apply here.
Listen, we're just following the Constitution.
Thank you, Law Boy.
Thank you, Law Boy. You know what? That's what we got to start calling Sam. Law Boy.
Law Boy.
Thank you, Law Boy. All right. It is 8:23 on Super Talk, and Joan's got the news coming up at 8:30. Joan.
We know when the charges will formally be lodged against Tyler Robinson. Also, some details about the Charlie Kirk funeral and memorial. All that coming up here at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WGN.
8:24 on Super Talk 99.7. Dan Mandis here for USS, United Structural Systems. Now, I've been telling you for years about USS. They are experts in waterproofing, concrete leveling, and yes, foundation repair. As a longtime homeowner, I can tell you that USS has been out to my house several times. This is a great company. They have helped me, and that is why I proudly endorse United Structural Systems. Now, I am one of 30,000 satisfied customers. Listen to this recent review on Google. Guy says that USS, they were highly professional. The crew was phenomenal from start to finish. They treated his home as if they were working on their own home. He does give United Structural Systems 5 stars all the way. Now, they're not going to charge you for any unnecessary repairs, and they're not going to pay a dime. You're not going to pay a dime until the work is done and you are a satisfied customer. Now, they can help you at USS with basement and crawl space waterproofing, basement wall stabilization, and foundation repair, and a whole lot more. Go to their website for the complete menu of what they can do for you. USSTN.com is the website, USSTN.com. We guarantee our best. Call USS, 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855, USSTN.com.
Good morning. It's now 8:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Charges are expected to be filed tomorrow against 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, the suspected killer of Charlie Kirk. Prosecutors are saying they do have DNA evidence and a note that he allegedly wrote amongst the mountain of evidence against him. We have details now about the memorial for Charlie Kirk.
The funeral and memorial for Charlie Kirk is now set for this coming Sunday at State Farm Stadium just outside Phoenix. That's where the Arizona Cardinals play. It's got a capacity of 70,000 people. And President Trump said that he will be there.
And that's ABC's Matt Gutman. In the New York City mayoral race, the man who calls himself a Democratic socialist has landed a big endorsement. The governor, Kathy Hochul, throwing her support behind Zora and Mamdani.
Governor Kathy Hochul has described herself as moderate and a strong supporter of Israel, but says she and Mamdani are united when it comes to stopping Trump administration policies that could hurt the city, like cuts to Medicaid. Hochul was Andrew Cuomo's lieutenant governor, but distanced herself from him after his resignation and allegations he sexually harassed 11 women.
That's ABC's Sonia Rincon. President Trump and others call Mamdani a communist. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. The U.S. and China entering into a second day of trade talks with a possible TikTok deal on the books. It's helping stocks to rise this morning. Dow Jones Industrials gaining 96 at the start here. The NASDAQ is up 97. S&P 500 index starting 24 points higher. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 8:32, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Change is always happening. Music is always changing. Songs are rewritten. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists, they come and go. But no matter how it changes in 5 years, there's one thing that will stay the same, and that is the price of your internet. Now, introducing the 5-year price guarantee from Xfinity. One internet price, 5 years guaranteed. All it means is you can get Wi-Fi equipment and unlimited data included. Now, that's great. With the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee, you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with their best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. To get started, visit Xfinity.com, that's Xfinity.com, or drop into an Xfinity store today. Xfinity, the Wi-Fi is booming. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024. Dan Mattis here, Mark Spain Real Estate. Skip the hassles of a traditional home sale and sell your home quickly with the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. There's no showings, no open houses, and no stress. Now, I know that I always recommend Mark Spain Real Estate to my friends and family here in Nashville because I can trust they are going to sell their homes hassle-free with a strong all-cash offer. As a matter of fact, Mark Spain Real Estate is the #1 most reviewed real estate company in America. With over 13,000 5-star reviews, you can trust my friends to sell your home fast and, yes, for maximum profit. Now, Mark Spain Real Estate, they've been helping homeowners sell their homes for nearly 30 years, and they've served over 72,000 satisfied clients. That is incredible. Find them online, markspain.com. Call them. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. 855-299-SOLD. 855-299-SOLD. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing. That's markspain.com.
You've got some delays this morning on in Laverne on 24, but this is on the eastbound side. It's at Waldron Road that you'll find a crash with 2 left lanes blocked off by it. Franklin Pike and Oak Hill, that's the scene of a crash at Old Hickory Boulevard. Also on the South Loop on 40, the eastbound lanes at I-65 South. Watch for another crash there. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Shot down and he was barely 31. Another woke coward took a life with a gun. He left behind a wife and a daughter and a son. All he did was try to speak for all of us. And I'm so tired of the hatred and the narratives. The patriots ain't dangerous, woke people are the terrorists. They shot and killed the father, sent a message to Americans. They ain't gonna stop until they bury us. Dear Charlie, I don't know if you can see us now, but if heaven has a window, I sure hope you're looking down. Cause we ain't going quiet, we gon' scream your name loud. And you're gone, but I swear to God that we gon' make you proud. We ain't backing off or giving up, I'll preach what you taught me. They may have killed a soldier, but that man had an army. This is far more deep than some political parties. And you can't kill freedom, so this one is for Charlie. This ain't the America that all our parents love, but good men tried to keep making it great. Pray that God will take care of us, the system is failing us. When good men die for the things that they say, and I can't just be quiet. So I gotta be brave, cause this is America. Lately it's scaring us, but one good man can change it all in a day.
That's Tom McDonald. Man, that is amazing. Isn't that you've obviously, Chris, you've been
good.
You've been playing that in what do you call it in music radio?
Power.
Power.
It's a power record.
That's a power record.
We that came out Thursday.
Yeah.
Like right at the end of my show.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to play it 1st, which was just a blessing.
Yeah, it's an amazing song, and I got to tell you, I tried today to focus on the good stuff.
Yep.
I mean, I could do an entire 4 hours focusing on the, a-holes or lunatics or whatever you want to call them that are celebrating Charlie Kirk's demise, his murder. But I'll leave that to, the very capable hands of Robbie Starbuck and Libs and TikTok and all these other folks.
I mean, there's a lot of patriots out there that are doing the dirty work for us, so we don't have to. For me, I liked what Matt Walsh said. Did you hear what Matt Walsh said?
No.
He said we should all strive to be such a thorn in the side of the left, such a pain by telling the truth that our enemies rejoice when we die.
Wow, that's good.
It's a play on the C.S. Lewis quote that when I die, I hope all of hell rejoices that I'm out of the fight.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, and you know what? You're seeing them celebrate. And, I mean, I saw some videos that just made my stomach turn.
Yeah.
And I think, and I've said this a couple of times, I also said it on X, I said, these people are just, you know what I've noticed? They're all ugly.
All of them.
They're all ugly, and they got the purple hair, and the nose rings, and the bad teeth, and it's just, they're ugly inside
They
and out.
wear their hate. I mean, it just comes out of them.
What a great way to put it, Joan.
Yeah.
They wear their hate.
Well, Charlie Kirk said once, it's like every time these people lie and preach this fake gospel, they're committing suicide of the soul, and it manifests physically. It's a crazy time. I'm going to try and focus on the silver lining as well. I think there's a lot of silver lining that you can point to over the weekend. Just the absolute revival that we saw in this country and globally over just a few days has been unbelievable.
Obviously, you heard Erica Kirk's speech.
Yep.
And
we
that
cried
was
our way through it.
Oh, I did too.
We all did.
Me and Amy.
Yep.
Me and Amy's like, I'm not crying. You're crying. She's like, oh, no, you're crying too. And I'm just like trying to discreetly, wipe my eyes. And then I'm like, I can't stop it.
Oh, when she said, what do you tell a 3-year-old? He's on a work trip with Jesus.
Oh.
to help pay for your blueberry budget. Ugh.
Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah.
That was tough. But I think for her, mission accomplished, because I think that what she wanted to do was make sure that message was heard loud and clear, that Turning Point was not going away.
No. And I mean, there's like a lot of response for the chapters,
Yes.
over 30,000.
32,000 now, as of last night.
It's incredible, but I think that the point needs to be made that just because you're not in college or high school doesn't mean that you don't get to be in the fight, because we had 1,900 college chapter or 1,100 college chapters and then like 900 high school chapters around there. I'm flubbing the numbers. I know that. They're going to need to hire people.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I was going to say.
There is no way that, and I love these guys, and I know it personally. There's no way that they have enough employees to handle that much of an influx of requests. So there's going to be a hiring spree at Turning Point as well. So like, if you want to get off the bench and in the game, that's an opportunity for you as well.
I just did the story, Chris. You'll be interested in this. That the philanthropist. Nicholas Fries.
Yes.
Is that his name?
Yep.
He his wife he passed away, and his wife just donated $1 million to Turning Point USA so that they could do that work, so that they could hire and keep it going.
Yep.
And,
Yeah.
I love that.
It's huge. It's massive.
So is there a way that you can start a chapter without officially having to burden the folks at Turning Point? Like, is there sort of like a turnkey?
I mean, you could, like, fake it till you make it, act as if.
Yeah.
I mean, I would apply for one and then, start organizing. And you'll get that call eventually from the Turning Point team. And to be fair, they're all rocked. Like the entire team is rocked.
Yeah.
So it's gonna take some time. But you don't have to wait to start organizing.
Well, and you also don't have to wait to be more like Charlie.
Amen.
You know what I mean? Like you can individually just be more like Charlie. And I mean, I was talking to Joan earlier about how when we did a Daily Dan poll, have you seen or did you see more people in church this past weekend? And at the last check, and maybe you can give me an update, but at the last check, we had, 72% said absolutely.
Yeah. And we're holding steady at 72.
Holding steady at 72%
I mean,
said
we
yes.
were at standing room only
Yeah.
in our church. And
we got the folding chairs. Did you guys get a seat?
Yeah. We had Kennedy sitting on Virginia's lap, and then Brooks was sitting on my lap.
There you go.
Yeah.
During the service.
Yeah.
Well, I was regaling folks in the 5 o'clock hour. I would suggest you not go back and listen to it because your humble host got a little weepy. But for the first time, I've actually sat through the entire Alan Jackson.
Let's go.
Sermon on. We actually watched the one on Saturday night that he did, and man, it was incredible. Like, I've heard people talk about it, and Joan and other people have talked about how amazing it is, and it really is. And I'm not. I mean, people do what they want, but I liked how he. It was, I will say this about Alan Jackson and that sermon that I heard from Saturday. Didn't really change my perspective because he and I are in alignment, but it did reaffirm my perspective and the way that he wove in the Bible and things that are going on in the world today and giving me the perspective of how to handle it and how to react to those kinds of things.
Yep.
Was just amazing.
Yeah.
Just amazing. So, I mean, I have turned into, to use a radio term, I have turned into an Alan Jackson P1.
He's awesome.
Pastor Alan Jackson.
He's fantastic.
Can you get me an interview with him?
Yeah. Yeah, we can do that.
Can you? That'd be great.
Yeah.
I'd love to talk to him.
Absolutely.
When was the last time you interviewed him?
This was probably months ago now. We're probably overdue. When was the last time? I think it was before
No,
the
you're not
election.
overdue. I'm overdue. I want to talk to him.
I think it was before the election.
Okay.
I think it was the day of the election, actually.
And Joan talked to him like way back when, a while
I was
ago.
filling in for Dan.
Yeah, way back when.
Way back.
Yeah, before we for whatever reason hired you back. Kidding, Joan, kidding. So I'm going to try to get him on.
Yeah.
So because I would love to talk to him.
We can make that happen.
I feel like I'm a recent convert.
Yeah.
To him. So
I think there's a lot of people in America right now that they're
they're
coming back.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw somebody post, it was like, I'm an eco-Christian, Easter and Christmas only.
Yeah.
And
I've never heard that.
You've never heard that?
No, eco-Christian.
I'm an eco-Christian, so Easter and Christmas only, but this has changed everything. Did you see the vigil that they had last night at the Kennedy Center?
It's funny you should ask.
Well, because it goes to your point when you said you can start living like Charlie Kirk today. RFK Jr. was talking about his niece.
Yeah. Oh, that was a great story.
And he said that he was looking at her bag and she packed a Bible.
Well, I do happen to have that audio, as a matter of fact. This is RFK Jr. And this got huge applause. I don't have this on video.
A 17-year-old niece left for Europe to go to college. And while she was packing, her mother, Amaryllis, my daughter-in-law, noticed that she had put a Bible in her suitcase. And Amaryllis was curious about it. And she asked her, and Zoe said to her, I want to live like Charlie Kirk.
Incredible.
Yep. Just amazing. And
they weren't sure that they were going to have a full room at the Kennedy Center.
Are you kidding me?
And
it was
they had to turn people away. Hundreds of people got turned away.
Well, if you go to my Twitter, at Dan Mandis Show, you will see that I have gone ahead and posted that. I also want to play Tulsi Gabbard. One of the things that I really like about the conservative movement is that we have people that are incredibly eloquent.
And the thing about Tulsi, too, is that she's a Democrat. And one of her first, dipping the toe into the pool of the conservative movement was at Turning Point events.
No kidding.
She was before she disavowed the Democrat Party, she was invited to a Turning Point event to speak, Young Women's Leadership Summit.
And she obviously noticed the more welcoming nature of Turning Point and the Republican Party. But what I like is, here's what I love, is that as you have all of these just heathens on the left celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk, we have people on our side that they're not ugly on the inside and the outside.
Right.
They are beautiful on the inside and the outside, whatever, because as Joan said, they're not wearing their hate. You know what I mean? So this is Tulsi Gabbard.
Those who are full of anger and hopelessness and hate right now, some of them protesting outside this hall today, unfortunately, they do not have the spiritual happiness that Charlie experienced. They're empty. And this is where their anger is coming from. It is their rejection of God, their desire to be God, and therefore they have made God their enemy. I have hope today. That every one of us will do our best to shine the light of God's love in our lives and in our work, that we will treat each other with aloha, respect, and stand strong and unshakable in the defense of our God-given rights and freedoms. May God bless you all, and may God bless this great nation. Aloha.
So that's Tulsi Gabbard.
Yep. Amen.
And, she had a lot of great things to say. Now, you are going to Arizona.
Yes. So we're going. We're going for the memorial service.
It's at the massive football stadium out there.
Yeah, which is insane.
63,400 people is what it holds.
It's crazy. Now, to be fair, I don't know how much of the memorial service I'm going to see. Like, I know President Trump's going to be there. He's going to give him the Medal of Freedom, which is just an unbelievable honor.
Yeah.
But my wife and I are going, and I've texted all my people, just like, let me help carry the load. Like, whatever you need. So I don't know what my role there looks like, whether I'm just going to get to be a spectator or whether I'm going to be put to work.
Well, listen, you said that they need the help, and you're no longer officially with them.
No. I mean, I work with them, but not for them.
Understood. So, I mean, you can help, and they need the help. I'm secretly thinking they're going to try to hire you away.
No.
That's a worry.
No, I mean, but it's such a blessing. We move mountains. My parents are flying in. My mom and dad are so great. I was like, we called them, and we're like, we really want to go. Can you guys come watch the kids? And they just went, yes.
Wow.
They said yes.
Did they really?
Like, they didn't even,
just the best
they
thing
didn't
in the
even
world.
hesitate. Like, we don't have in-laws near us. So, like, it's tough. So we're trying to figure out, like, how do we farm out kids? And then, like, Virginia wanted to come, obviously. This hits her just as hard as me. And so she wanted to come, and then it was like, let me just call my mom and dad.
Yeah.
And they were like, before I could even get the question out of my mouth, they said, yes.
That is amazing.
Yes. So
that is so cool.
We'll fly out Saturday night, and then we'll take the overnight back Sunday. So I'll be back for the show on Monday.
Wow. And what time does your plane land?
8:30 a.m.
Chris's plane
Yeah.
lands at 8:30.
You better stick around, Dan.
Oh, I got no. Trust me, I got nothing to do.
Yeah. So we'll pray for no delays.
Oh, I'll be praying for no.
But
delays.
I'm gonna have 2 days of just a lack of sleep. But we're excited, man. Tonight we're actually gonna do the vigil in Murfreesboro, down at Medical Center Parkway.
So there's a bunch over the weekend.
Yep.
And you're going to do what? Just tell me where it is. Tell folks
So
where it is.
1500 Medical Center Parkway over at the Fountains is going to be where the vigil is for Charlie this evening. But I linked up with some of the Turning Point chapters. It's such a blessing. The local high school chapters in the area, they're going to give us notes for the memorial at headquarters in Arizona.
Oh,
so
wow.
we're going to
Okay.
take all their notes and we're going to drop them off at headquarters and leave them there at the memorial.
Did you see what happened I didn't even talk about this. It's all yours. UK.
Yeah.
Holy
It was
mackerel.
but it wasn't just the UK. Did you see Australia, South
Yep.
Korea,
Yep.
New Zealand.
New Zealand?
Oh, what was it
The haka. I sent it to
haka.
you.
Yeah.
I love that haka.
man.
Okay, can you explain to me? Because I'm a little, I didn't even get to it, but I'm a little lost
Yeah.
on
It's
the
like
whole haka thing.
It's like a tribal dance, right?
It's a warrior tribute. That's the main intent is typically the Maori would honor their fallen warriors with that, at their ceremonial celebration of that warrior's life. And so they had a couple of Charlie's portraits up doing their haka. You see it a lot of the time with rugby teams. The New Zealand soccer team will do it. In years past has become something that's just a culture thing. But now it's...
I can't find it. So can you go ahead and just do... Watch this, Chris. Can you just do a haka for us, Sam?
No, I'm not
Are you sure? Because
Maori.
you know what? Here's what I know. Is that a while ago, Sam, you openly sang on the radio
Yeah.
for
Sam, I heard it.
for an unsuspecting audience.
I don't speak Maori.
Come on, law boy.
Come on. Joan is now openly trolling Sam,
I love
calling him a law boy. Hey, I want to play something real quick. If you can send that to me real quick, Sam, again, to either my Gmail or my Dan show.
Hey, real quick. A lot of people asking what time the vigil is in Murfreesboro tonight. 7 o'clock.
All right.
Good.
This is a kid named, I think his name is Bryson, and he was outside of this is a Democrat's worst nightmare, outside of the Kennedy Center.
He was my idol.
Yes.
Like, I remember watching his videos, wanting to be like him. Like, I would just see the way he would debate, and he was stayed calm while the left was just yelling at him, and he was just so nice about it. And then they hated him so much because he knew he was right, but they just didn't want to admit it. So they ended up hating him, and they just killed him for it. He was my idol.
Yeah, I mean, just what would you say, Chris? Based?
Yep, completely based.
And obviously, he's not a new convert to the movement that is Charlie Kirk, and it is a movement.
Well, and then the cool part about that, right afterward, Ben Berkram, the reporter, prayed over him. And it's like, this is like the sense of revival that we get. And he's like, I pray that you have an army of angels protecting this next generation. And I think we're seeing that happen in real time.
All right, so set this up for this haka. So set this up again. I've got the video now, and now I'm going to play the audio, but... like, they're just... Where is this?
New Zealand.
I think this is how we need to end the show every day.
We should.
We do a haka. And they're holding pictures of Charlie Kirk. Come on, law boy.
They're essentially saying that the life he lived is that of a warrior.
Where's the lie?
And when we dedicate this to him and what he stood for.
As my husband says, these guys are men.
Yeah, I wouldn't mess with them.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. All right, very good. All right, we got a lot of hawking going on coming up on the Chris Hand Show. Chris, what do you got?
Well, we're gonna talk about the conspiracy theories that are running around the internet. We're gonna talk about the conspiracy that I think is unfolding in real time, the Trans-Tifa conspiracy. Yeah. We'll also talk about Governor Spencer Cox. A lot of people are giving him props, but I want to pump the brakes on that.
You go.
Not a huge fan of Spencer Cox.
Yes.
So we'll talk about that. Plus, we will try and focus a lot on the silver lining of what happened. I do want to focus on the positive. I really do want to try to not get angry. But there's going to be a few moments today where I'm going to be pointing the finger and yelling in red.
All right, Joan, quick, what's coming up?
Yeah, Tyler Robinson not cooperating with investigators. We got more on that coming up here at 9 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. 8:55. Dan Mandis here with a question for you. If your roof was destroyed in a storm, how much of that replacement cost would your insurance company cover? Now, if you don't know, you really do need to ask because some insurance companies refuse to pay full replacement cost. They're going to deduct money for an older roof, and this means that the insurance company is depreciating how much they pay for your roof claim. If you've got an older roof, they are going to pay you less, and that could leave you on the hook for thousands of dollars. Now, my friends at King & Associates Insurance, they will pay full replacement cost. So whether you have to replace a 10-year-old roof or a 2-year-old roof, they will pay for it to be replaced, period. It is that kind of focus on customer service that makes King & Associates Insurance one of the best insurance companies around. 615-329-8121. 615-329-8121. Get your royal review to kinginsurance.com.